Hello and welcome to the Christian Reeve podcast, another episode, another interview. I'm loving doing these, and today I have a guest hailing all the way from California. It's my first ever American guest on the show, I believe, to this point, to this date, I think. I don't know. Whatever. I'm rambling on. So anyway, my guest goes by the name Missy Horror on social media. And she does a bunch of different things. So basically, most of what I've seen in my research and from what I know about this person is she's kind of like an aspiring model. And also she's heavily into like working out and stuff like that. And I guess kind of maybe aspiring social media influencer. I don't know. We'll find out what she says in a second. But yeah, she has a lot of different things that she's doing, that she's involved with, different interests, some of which we share. So I'm very excited to begin this interview. So hello, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I am caffeinating still. It is coffee o'clock.
Oh, I know, man. I live on that shit, honestly. If they could find a way to inject that stuff into your veins, I think, well, they probably have.
Oh, yeah. Coffee IV.
Coffee IV. Just give it to me on the drip. That's right. The good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I'll just jump straight into the questions then, shall I? unless there's anything you'd like to say. Are you happy with my intro? Is it good?
Oh yeah, it's fine.
It's fitting. Okay.
It's fine.
So, when did you first get into modeling, and why did you get into it?
Well, about 12, 13 years ago, I had a point where I was like living in the Bay Area and I was booking a lot of different things. It's back when like Model Mayhem and everything was like a very new website. So,
Okay.
and being in the Bay Area, like there was a lot of opportunity to get different shoots done and work with a lot of different people. And I wasn't doing much of anything else at the time. Like I was just going to school and I wasn't really doing anything else.
Oh, so
I used to,
okay, so you were quite, yeah, you say you were at school, so what, you're like 15, 16, something like that, maybe?
no. So I was going to the junior college there. I'm not young. So I actually did a lot of different shoots and everything. And I really wish I still had access to those pictures and those profiles. But unfortunately, it's been like forever.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I would do pictures a lot with my sister. And it was kind of like this art creative like outlet. It was color guard. It was dance. It was photo shoots. It was all that good shit. It was Warped Tour. It was just a lot of different things we were really into. So it wasn't really like, oh, let me go do modeling. It was let me go take some pictures. Like in my mind, it's never been let me go do modeling, because I feel like modeling as an umbrella, when you use that term, people think let me just go get cute and stand in front of a camera. Like they don't think about concepts. They don't think about trying to tell a story with the shoot that you're doing. They just think, let me get cute, let me get tan, let me, they don't think, okay, well, if we're doing, say, for example, one project that I'm working on, it's a horror theme. It's going to go into, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to go into this kind of alternative digital print / you can order. It's like this magazine I came across because I've been trying to get back doing these things.
Cool.
So I looked for a lot of magazines that are taking submissions and everything, and it's for an occult issue. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to get the okay to shoot in the Cecil Hotel in LA. I haven't been able to do that, so I was able to get in touch with a friend of mine that he makes a lot of really scary props, a lot of really scary mask, and just a lot of really, really cool shit. And so once I wrap up what I'm working on now, we're going to plan a day and we're going to try to narrow down the concept. What I got right now is kind of just a possessed bitch who kills her lover with a shotgun in the face. Now, can we get enough FX makeup to do that? I don't know. But it's not just let me go take a picture when I do something. And it has to be kind of shocking or kind of weird. Like, Right now I'm trying to finish up doing this holographic theme one that they posted up, and I'm just like, I saw it, I was like, the fuck do I do with this? Like, this is not scary, this is not weird. I've got a few ideas. In all honesty, when I plan a day, I'm gonna have to just come up with it, shot in the dark, making my props, trying to do what I can do, but I'm like, I do scary shit, so it's out of my element.
Nice.
To a very high degree.
Do you have any particular inspirations that you use? I mean, because immediately as soon as you started talking about that, for some reason I started thinking about Rob Zombie and all of the imagery that he uses in movies and such. But like, is there anyone you look up to?
The era that I grew up in is very much that Marilyn Manson, that
Yeah.
Rob Zombie, Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson. Ramstein is an excellent inspiration for really anything. Like, because everything they do, they go so all out with it. Like, let me cover myself in flame retardant so I don't catch on fire while I'm doing a show. Like,
safety first, people. Safety first.
A lot of Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, like a lot of the really kind of older stuff.
Right.
But when it comes to like, when I think about something, like the way my brain wraps around it, it's like I could have like 15 different pieces of it, and somehow I have to work it together to make it work. Like, it's not just let me go take a picture. And some of what I do is kind of like adjust at pieces of myself. Like, I might plan something out, and certain concepts of that shoot might be adjust at myself, adjust at something that I have done, maybe a piece of me that I don't like anymore. I might use something like that. And some of what I'm going to be doing for the holographic theme, I'm going to be probably taking a little bit of a adjust at myself, and it's going to come out great. But I can't post it until after that magazine actually comes out. So it'll go, I'd have to get it done, submit it, wait the whole last month for it to come out, and then I have to post it at that point. And then I think I still have to like put credit down or however I haven't read through all that yet, to be honest. I need to read it.
Which magazine is this? Do they have like a
it's for it's on Instagram. It's for Misfit, MYSSFIT, and like they post a theme every month, and so anybody's really free to submit their pictures.
Cool.
And that's kind of when I was like trying to get back doing this, which I wanted to start to get back doing this right when quarantine started. Like, I bought a new car. I was feeling myself. I was like, I'm going to get back doing this shit. Everything shuts down.
Yeah.
Like,
typical. I know how you feel. It's tricky. Like, I have a similar experience with trying to search for a job. And I sort of returned to England around the beginning of quarantine, or like no, just before, a couple of weeks before. And then as soon as I find my place when I moved up north, quarantine started, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? But it is what it is. Since we're on the topic, actually, what is the situation like there in California with COVID-19? Because I do have a couple of friends out there that say some concerning things, but what's your experience of it?
Okay, so we're going to start with an example. There is a hospital locally where I live, and I don't know, I did post it. I probably shouldn't have, in all honesty. I should not have posted it, but the job that I do, sometimes I have to sit in at hospital with clients for whatever various reason, that they happen to be there. Some of them, honestly, will play this hospital game for attention. It is what it is. It's part of my job. But
what do you mean
at the hospital?
What do you mean hospital game?
Okay, so I work with teenagers, and they have a lot of mental health or behavioral issues.
Okay.
They come from juvenile hall. They come from mental hospital. And when I'm saying like hospital game, I am very sympathetic for these kids, but they don't understand the seriousness of the virus and everything. And they've learned in the past, it's a learned behavior they have, really. They've learned if they do something that could get them arrested, and then they say they're going to hurt themselves, that they go to hospital instead of going to juvenile hall.
Right, okay. Always more like playing the system then, like, because they understand how it works.
Yeah, a lot of these kids have learned that, and it's part of my job, and I'm fine with that, but when it comes to sitting at the hospital And so you walk into this hospital, and it's like the second time I've had to do this since the virus started. And I was like, I could not really keep my shit together. Like, I was like, dude, so you walk in, and there's like this little glass area.
Right.
And the little glass area used to be where security would be. So you got your regular waiting room area. All they did was like they spread out the chairs a little bit, took out a few chairs. And then they have the little glass case. They don't temp check you at the door. All they ask you is if you have any symptoms. They don't do shit at the door. And so
Wow.
I'm just sitting here. I have a mask on. I'm sitting here. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling, some type of way, but this is part of my job. So it is what it is, And so they don't do the temperatures. And then the people are in that little glass case area. It's maybe about the size of a fairly sized bathroom, like the ones that have the shower and the sink in the same area. Like, it's not very big. Like, it's maybe 10 feet by 5 feet. So, a little rectangular space.
Are these like cubicles for people that are like that have like patients, basically? Like
yeah, it's like a cubicle area, but the spacing of it. So say somebody comes in, they're not confirmed to have it.
Right.
If they have any type of respiratory, they go into that area.
Okay.
And so the issue I had is with that area. We were there the first time I had to sit in 7 hours. I did not see a single person sanitize anything in that room or anything in that waiting room.
Wow.
And I also had issue because I literally went to the front desk. First off, the person at the desk was beyond rude. I was like, look, bitch, if we were outside, I would drag you in the street right now. Like, don't come at me crazy. Don't act like you have an attitude, because, bitch, my attitude is bigger. I will not put up with that. Like, you're at work. I have to not drag you. So you need to not act crazy, because I will drag you. Like, so she actually wants to try to tell me, when I've been sitting there the whole time, she wants to try to tell me that that they've been sanitizing as best as they can, in quotations.
Right. Yeah, they're just giving you a spiel of like, yeah, we're following the guidelines, blah blah blah, but then in actuality,
no, like, and so the people would come in. There was 2 people in the little glass case area who were not wearing their mask, even though they were there respiratory, they were being tested. Then one of them was getting like a little breathing treatment thing, and I'm just like, look here, bitch. Like, she tried to tell me, oh, those aren't COVID patients. Okay. So I'm there about 3 hours, and I guess they had tested one of them or something, because then this person in a motherfucking full hazmat getup comes over there and tells the person they need to go with them to go and be admitted and this and that. Okay, wow. Bitch, this person is in the full fucking PPE for this shit. And that same person who was taken back had been so there's a glass case on the other side. There's 2 restrooms, and nobody sanitized those restrooms. And so the people who were there for respiratory were using the same restroom as the patients who were there without it. Like, they just were not sanitizing anything. The receptionist had a bad fucking attitude. And, and then, of course, the kid I was there with, I'm not wearing a mask, talking about, oh, I'm going to catch COVID. I got, like, coffee, people looking at her, like, doing it on purpose. I was like, bitch, I'm going to come unglued right now. Like, and it was more that the hospital wasn't sanitizing stuff, because that is the one thing that could be controlled. They should be sanitizing, because they should have people, they should have a tent outside. They should have something. Yep. And they're just not equipped to deal with this. They're not equipped. And then the second time I had to go back, this was maybe 3 days ago. I think it was it was on Thursday. I think it was Thursday. And so I get there, and yet again, Corona idiots. So there's like a wing where like they put people that are drunk or there for 5150 hold, or they've been arrested, but they're getting medically cleared before they take them to jail. Tell me why in that wing there was 8 fucking patients, and they don't even have a room for me to sit in with this child. We're sitting in the fucking hallway, and the sign right across from there. Okay, you can I'm like, these people think that we're stupid. Okay, so it has a little blue sign up. This is the picture I posted. I probably should not have, but fuck it. It's not like there was a person in the picture. I took a picture of a sign.
Oh shit! Yeah, there was a rule, isn't there? I remember this. I think I've seen this in England as well. That you can't take photos in hospitals. But I've never.
But I feel like if it's something to do with public health, I'm like, look, this is me making a point. You know, and it's not like I tagged the hospital. You know, a little slap on the wrist. Maybe I shouldn't have done this, but it's ridiculous. Like, and so they have a little sign, a blue sign, droplet precautions, right? Okay. What did they say that COVID is? The sneezing, the all that shit, all your saliva, your whatever when you cough. And y'all mean to tell me, okay, so this room wasn't even a separate room. There was a curtain in between it. There was two people in that conjunctive room.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the way that our hospitals are handling it definitely reflects in how many cases we actually are getting. Because they're just not being smart. Like, they're just treating it like, okay, well, you know, I heard one of the hospital staff talking while I was there, and she's just like, well, if one of us get it, all of us are going to get it. And if we're going to get it, like, just, I'm like, you're at work. We can fucking hear you. Shut up. Just shut the, like, so, I mean, they're just not handling it. They're not equipped for it. They seem to think that, not sanitizing anything is acceptable. They wouldn't even clean a restroom. I had to use my own bleach wipes I had with me to clean the restroom so the kid that was there with me could use it. And even then I still felt iffy about it. But
outside of like hospitals though, like what's the kind of day-to-day like for you with corona? Because obviously in the UK we have a certain way that it's going, and there's a lot of conflicting information from the government that's kind of left everyone a bit clueless as to what the rules are and such. And from what I understand from the different people I've interviewed from different countries, some are a bit stricter and more straightforward. Some have the same as the UK, where there's this like, confusion, and some countries have nothing at all, like they're back to normal. So what's it like in California with regards to that?
It really depends on what part of California. Honestly, the cops aren't enforcing this shit. Nobody is enforcing it. They got all this talking, all this big shit. We're gonna find people. Every single store has the little sign posted. You have to wear a face mask. You have to be 6 feet apart. Our gym's open for like a week or two, and then they got shut back down. And I actually almost got in a fight with this dude because I was already tired. I was already mad that day.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker was like recording me. Like, he was low key creeping on me. Yeah. Well, I was trying to work out, and I'm not a small person. I'm not as lean as I want to be, but I'm not small. And this dude was literally trying to record me, and I'm like, look, bitch, okay? My fucking legs weigh more than you do. What are you doing?
She's just been like, I could crack your head like a walnut.
Yes. Like, I was just like, apparently, I don't know. Maybe he likes some thick. What the fuck? Like, but he was staring hard. No. I mean, he was trying to record me. And then he tried to, because you know how the bars are where you put the plates? Like, somebody had left like 3 fucking plates on the bar.
I hate when people do that.
I'm finishing up. All I need to do is do some deadlifts and get the fuck out. Like, I was almost done. I was wiping shit down with my own bleach wipes and my Lysol. And this motherfucker was laughing at me while I'm like Lysoling stuff. Like, bitch. Like, okay. Comes up after I had already wiped everything down, taken the plates off, and just left the one on because I was going to warm up with the 145 on each side. And he comes up, I was using that. I looked at him, I was like, you realize I've seen you this whole time. Like, I went off. Like, I was like, so for one, you couldn't even lift this weight. I was like, for two, why are you not even wearing your mask? Oh, it's my personal choice. Like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, hashtag Corona idiot. It's a personal choice, but the public health department says you have to wear it. So I popped off. Like, I was 2 inches from this guy's face, telling him I'm going to fuck him up. Like, I was like, I need to walk away. I'm going to get banned from the gym. I'm really going to get arrested over this fucking little bitch. Like, I was mad. Like, and then, you know, the whole rest of the gym is just staring at me. Cause like I'm short. I'm like a pit bull. I'm fucking short.
Right.
I'm muscular. I'm gonna bite. Like, and
Was
so
it
I just
was it mostly guys there when you...
yeah, and I was like, and I looked at them, and I do this thing, like, I've done it like 3 times since quarantine started. Like, I don't do this. I really don't. Like, in public, I will behave myself for the most part.
It's an interesting thing, though. I think, like, a lot of guys just don't understand or fully appreciate, like, the crap that women have to put up with on a daily basis from, like, creepy guys. Because I have so many female friends that I've met over the years that tell me all these stories, and I'm just like, is this normal? And then, like, the more and more women I speak to, they're, like, correlating the stories and, like, yeah, you know, like, they creep on you on the subway, they creep on you, you know, in, places like the gym and stuff. And it's just like, fuck, man. Like, could intervene and do something, you know what I mean? Rather than just standing there gawping and being like, oh my god, someone's shouting. Like, yeah.
Disgusting. But no, so then I was like, okay, I need to walk away. I'm about to catch myself some charges right now. If I fuck this guy up in the gym where there's cameras, I'm going to catch a charge. I'm really going to catch a charge. Like, I knew it. I was like, I walked off. I was like, it's not, just fuck the deadlifts. Just go. Just go. Like, but before I did, of course, I look at the whole rest of the free weight room. They're staring, just eyes glued to me. like they have never seen somebody step to somebody else before. And it was
really?
Like
in a gym?
It was like 3 months of just frustration about all these Corona idiots, and then this motherfucker wants to record me and be laughing at me and not wearing a mask, and I'm just like, look here, bitch. And so I look at him and I'm like, every single fucking one of you should be telling him the same shit, because his dumb ass is going to get the whole fucking gym shut down. Like, I'm just bitching at this whole room full of people, loud as fuck. I didn't care. Like, I was like, I have Corona, lost my mind.
You know, the weird thing with this mask thing, right? Like, I don't know, because it's different in the UK to America. I can already see that when I compare. Because in America, it seems like, for the most part, it's like, yeah, you just wear that mask everywhere, pretty much. And you got the idiots that are like, oh, no, don't wear the mask, blah, 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 blah. But like,
they're like, it's personal choice.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. But anyway, in the UK, right, this is the official, like, I guess, law right now, is that you have to wear it on public transport, right? Which is understandable. And apparently you're supposed, like, you have to wear it in stores, like shops, right? But then because we recently had, like, pubs and clubs and, you know, venues open again, right, recently. And like, yesterday was the first time I went out, right? And in, like, since lockdown, basically. And I brought my mask with me, and I was like, okay, I don't really know what to expect. Like, if because, like, the idea is that, like, shop owners can challenge you. So some shops would just be like, oh, whatever, you know, it's up to you. Whereas other ones might be strict and be like, if you don't put a mask on, we'll kick you out, kind of thing, right? But then, like, this place, I go in, obviously the staff are all wearing the masks, fine, and, like, they've put all these measures in place to distance each other. But, like, basically most people are just not wearing like, no one's wearing a mask inside. And I'm just, like, so confused about this. And I mean, like, in my mind, like, logically, I think it's like, if you're in close quarters with people around, like, yeah, like in that hospital scenario that you gave, and it makes perfect sense to be wearing a mask then, because you're, like, sitting there, the germs are, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not moving, like, I think, and it's kind of the same with the gym as well, because, like, when I do exercise, generally at the moment I'm outside, so, and I'm not around many people, if any at all, so it's like I don't wear the mask then. But, like, if I was around a lot of people, I'd definitely be wearing it. I'd probably...
I think the difference... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go.
I think the difference is really just the numbers there versus the number here. Like, we have almost 10,000 new cases, and that's, like, in, I don't know, I think it's, like, the last week or two or something. I'd have to get online and look at the numbers, but it's just, like, exploding, and then... they're running out of tests, so even, like, the numbers that they have aren't our numbers. Like, and like, the thing is that the next day they shut the gyms down literally like a day after I went on my tyrant about it. I was like, look, this is exactly what the fuck I meant. The bars here briefly opened. They opened for, God, I think it was like 3 days, 4 days, and then they shut them back down. Yeah, and so they actually were not enforcing the mask at all, and it was packed. Like the bars here, it was packed. And it was one time that I went, and outside I had a couple, with a friend of mine, and I felt uncomfortable because there was just too many fucking people around. Like, there was just too many people.
Given that, I don't know how much you might know about this, but I figure I might as well pose the question. Given that every state in America is typically quite self-governed, so like they can be drastic. Obviously, for instance, for those who don't know, things like marijuana usage in California is fine, but then in another state it's illegal, and so on.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So with Corona, like, I don't know, do you have buddies in other states that are saying like, oh, it's totally different here? Like, do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I do. Like, in other states, like, it depends really on where it is at, because some people are just like, I have online friends that I'll see their posts, like, I don't say something because I don't want to sit there and get in a whole ass argument, over Corona, but I'm just like, if you're in a place that's fucking infested and their numbers are just going up, why are you gonna go get your nails done? And this comment is about a few people. It's about a couple of people online that I do talk to, and it's also about some Corona idiots that I can't with them. Like, and so it's just kind of, people aren't really understanding that it's not necessary to go and do all this bullshit. Like, let me go get my nails done. Let me go get my hair done. I'm like, okay, if you think about it, if you get sick, okay, the time between you get your unemployment or whatever, you're going to lose your fucking car. You might get kicked out. Some states don't have rental protection going on. Like, it's just like, they don't have enough in place to protect us as individuals. Like, okay, so y'all want to shut everything down. This virus is going on. Okay, so even if they say they can't evict people, they still have to pay that back rent. And they still have to pay that past bill. And then there's like, what it could do to the economy in terms, think about it. If everyone who gets it, if their car gets fucking repossessed, so now you have a bunch of cars. You have people who can't get another car for God knows how long, because you get a car repossessed, like, that shit's it. No one's gonna finance you.
Yep.
And you have other bills. You have electricity. You need to get groceries. Like, if you get sick, you're fucked. Like, you're fucked. Like, and employers don't really give a fuck. Like, I don't care if it's Walmart or it's WWE. These employers do not give two flying fucks. Unless you have a positive test, get your ass to work. Yeah. Like, that's very much in California what the vibe is. And I've talked to a lot of other people too who work for group homes, and they have a lot of the same issues that I have. It's that, so we get these kids, because of HIPAA laws, whether they're tested or not, they're not going to tell us, oh, this kid tested negative, this kid tested positive. There's HIPAA laws. And
is that, so like, a confident? Sorry, is that like
it's a confidentiality thing. So we cannot force these kids to get tested. We cannot, if they did test, we cannot know, did they test positive, did they not? Unless, there might be some circumstance where the kid tells you, but whatever the situation, they come from highly infected areas. For a while there, we weren't even getting new kids placed because of the virus and all that panic and all that shit. And then the kids that we did have would leave because they do bad shit. Like, I treat them no different than I treat my own kid, but they do bad shit sometimes. And so sometimes they'll go try to get drunk with like homeless people and shit like that.
Right.
And they'll come back and we have to let them in They could have been around God knows who.
Yeah.
They could have caught God knows what. They aren't going to stay in their room even if you tell them you need to quarantine. They're not going to do that. We cannot make them do that. So we're working in a situation where we could be exposed at any point in time. And it's not just myself. I've talked to other people who work in group homes, and there is very little that we can do. There's very little we can do in terms, it is what it is.
Mm.
So there's that, just a lot of businesses, like, they don't care though. They're like, well, if y'all don't got a fever, and it's like, what does a temperature do? Because you could have no symptoms.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's enough to, like, just because you mentioned WWE, so let's talk about that real quick. I remember when they when they were exposing that, like, they said that, like, the extent of their tests were that they were just checking temperature, which does not constitute a full test. That's just like a preliminary stage, if you like. It's like the first indicator, but it's not like, as you said, you could have a temperature but be symptomless or whatever, it's, I don't know.
It's what does it do? And then a lot of the problem I got, since we're on the subject of WWE, I have a big fucking problem with some of them females and the fact that they swear Instagram does not snitch on them. I'm like, you are some of the biggest corona idiots. Like, okay, Lana, for example.
Lana.
Parents have it, husband has it. You cannot tell me she either didn't have it, got it, or was asymptomatic. So you tell me parents got it, husband got it. You go on this cruise, and there's a thing too. It's like the Jersey Shore hookup board. Lana was around Mandy, who was around Ashley, who was around this person, who was around that person, all on this boat, cooking up a big old case of fucking Corona chili. Like,
so this wasn't like them filming for some WWE show or something. This was just them hanging
out.
No,
like, this was just their Instagram post. Like, this is just, they're hanging out. They're in Florida. Right. Florida's infected as fuck as it is.
It's just like, you never know though, because it could always just be some shitty show on the network that no one watches. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you never know. Like, I don't watch that garbage. Like,
well, who the fuck wants to? Don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be harsh or mean. Like, the production quality of WWE programming is exceptional, but it's like, okay, like, for instance, that Total Bellas show, I mean, reality TV, I know it's still massively popular in many countries, but, like, it kind of had its day in, like, the early 2000s, really. That was, like, the height of popularity. Now it's part of society and shit, but it's not, like what it was. And with WWE, I mean, it's principally they're wrestlers, so it's not the same. I don't know. I don't feel like it's the same level of interest. Like, people would necessarily be as invested in them. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, I think for instance, the Bella Twins having, like, their own show it's like, who cares? Like, who even are you? Like, I understand you were wrestlers, and to the wrestling community, yeah, okay, that's interesting, maybe, vaguely, but, like, to the outward world, well, okay, I'm not trying to be an arsehole, because I think they're very talented women.
No, it's okay, my time is coming for it.
They're like, I'm not shitting on anyone in that sense. I guess I don't see the point. Like, some of their stuff is kind of unique. I don't know, I think the ride-along thing would be fine if it wasn't so scripted, because it's clearly not, like, script, but, like, it's not, okay, they're trying to portray, like, oh, hey, going on this car ride and it's just buddies and it's all real, but it's not. It's bullshit. And I know that's kind of the whole point of reality TV, but, good reality TV makes you think, like, is this staged? Is it not staged? That's good reality TV, right? Because everyone's in on it, but, like, it makes you think. But, like, with that, I'm like, I don't buy it.
See, my problem is, like, okay, I have no problem with the Bellas. I'm not trying to shit on nobody either.
Yeah, me neither.
But my thing is this, like, the transparency and somebody being that intrusive into someone's life, like, I don't understand how someone can be okay with that. And I do understand that it has a lot to do with they probably want to stay relevant. There's probably some, God knows the reason, but to me, I don't find that entertaining because it's built on the premise of idolization. Like, really, that's something that is my biggest pet peeve. Like, you have people who they will put a celebrity on a pedestal, and oh my God, if you crack this joke at this person, they might block you. Okay, so if someone's added to my block list, I'm gonna have a big ass laugh. I got a nosy ass bitch who blocked me off Instagram because I said some shit. It started because she's a Corona idiot, and I was just like, I'm gonna call you out on this. I don't give two fucks who you are. I don't care if you drive a BMW.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're fucking a UFC fighter. I will call you out. I don't care who you are.
Two guesses who that is.
That's my thing, is my thing, that premise of idolization. I'm like, I will sit here and I will talk to a hobo the same way I will talk to motherfucking Jesus. Like, I will not sit here. I mean, and that's just an example. Like, that's just supposed to be extreme. Like, I'm not going to talk any different to someone if they're homeless than I will talk to them if they're bringing home $2 million a year. Like, if you got me fucked up, you got me fucked up. If you're doing stupid shit, if I'm going to crack a joke, I'm going to talk to you like you're a human being. Like, and people put these wrestlers up on a pedestal. We just had that whole speaking out thing happen.
Oh, yeah, that's
all
awful,
these people got called out, and I'm like, you're surprised. You swear like these men are gods, or they're impervious to bad decisions. And then on that other level, as much as it does suck, all the things that have happened to certain people, you also, on the flip side, you have to go, wait a minute, but if they weren't famous, would you even care they did it? Like, and that's where there's kind of that line there, because you could have Herbert down the fucking street.
Yeah.
Herbert the fucking pervert down the street from you, who has 2 charges for underage sex with a minor, and you look it up online, who, like, how many pedophiles are in your neighborhood, and you know Herbert lives there, but you're not saying on social media, Herbert the fucking pervert lives down the street from me. But all of a sudden you have these wrestlers that have maybe abused their power in certain situations, preyed on women who were just barely starting out, you know, very uncertain of their role in the business. And because they're famous, you want to make it a federal case. Like, I'm not discrediting anybody that's had bad things happen. I've had things happen. Like, but it's that they're famous, let's blast this, let's this. And then for every one story that's true, you probably have 25 that are for clout, that are for attention, that are because they want to be part of that big movement. And I mean, it's really just irritating to me. I don't do that idolization shit. I don't do that inequality shit. If you're going to call out, you know, Joe from the hardware store, you better call him out the same way you're going to call out, I don't know, fucking, who's someone that got called out? Velveteen Dream. You better call them out the same way.
Do you think he really did it?
I don't know, because here's my thing. You see so much online. You see so much that these fans, these fans, ring rats, whatever the fuck they are, like, they are so good at Photoshop. They are so good at harassing people. They have so many profiles. Like, it's like anything I see online, like, I could see a screenshot and you could have a verified name on it. It could be a whole ass list of shit. It could be something that will blow everything wide open, and I'm going to go, you can make that, though. Like, and that's where it's very, I would say, scary for these people who are in the public spotlight like that, because they can doctor these photos. They can edit these texts.
Like, when I was looking at all of the people that were accused, I mean, like, I kind of put them into different categories. Like, Velveteen Dream, I'm so unsure of that one. I just feel like it could have happened, but, like, he just doesn't. I mean, you never know fully. You know, someone could be a creep behind closed doors. There is that. But okay, like if you, for instance, if you look at like the way people respond to it. So like if you take Sammy Guevara's approach, he's just basically saying, "Hey, I was a fucking idiot kid and I'd said some stupid shit. I'm sorry." And then he accepts it. He gets suspended. He comes back. I'd say he's probably forgiven for the most part, and he's moved on and he's handled it like a man, and fair play to him. But then there are other people like Joey Ryan or who I just fucking knew that guy there was some shit with that. I mean, come on.
I was shocked because
really, come on, with a gimmick like that and his ego and all that. Are you really that surprised?
No, because I've been in a locker room with him, and he was a very polite person. I didn't even see him talk to anybody. Kept to himself. Like, I was shocked.
Was this
really
like
shocked.
before when was this roughly?
This was about 8 years ago.
So he's not quite come into his own just yet. 2012 then, was he? Or I don't know. I haven't really followed his career properly.
It was a while back, but I was just honestly surprised by it.
All right.
But then again, you see it. Like, here's my thing: it's this double standard area. Like, that's just kind of where the topic goes back. Like, I want to know, why is people like Sunny not on that list of speaking out? Because just because you're a woman, like what she did was so incredibly wrong.
What did she do again?
So what she did is when Dolph Ziggler was first getting started.
Oh,
She fucked him and then she exposed him. Like as if it's some type of a trophy. I'm like,
Oh, do you mean like just her talking about it in a shoot interview? That was
she had there's a photo or whatever.
Oh, that's really
all that shit. I'm like
that
is some speaking out shit, because just because that's a man doesn't mean that what was done was wrong.
It's just really low, isn't
wrong,
it?
Excuse me. Like, it's just disgusting to me. It's like you don't do that to somebody. Like, I'm like, I understand whatever, she has all these charges on her, and then she got all freaked out on Twitter because she got busted being racist. I'm like, well, we already knew you were a piece of shit, but now you're an even filthier piece of shit. Like, that just, to me, I feel like it definitely should be noted that there are some females that will do shit like that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Actually, I kind of agree with you. I think you can't just put it all on the guys. I think it's just, I think to be honest with you, when I look at it, it's more of a institutional problem in the sense that because locker rooms ultimately are owned by promoters, right? And obviously you do have things like locker room leaders and staff and like senior people and such. So the accountability and responsibility is on them, but it's like these things are allowed to happen. Like, so for instance, all these women who were abused, like if you look at the timeline of stuff, right, and women's wrestling and how it's evolved over the years, it's only really being properly taken seriously in like probably the last 10 years. I mean, it's always had a prominent fixture in wrestling. It's been like up and down and up and down and up and down. It's very confusing. I don't have to explain, but for those listening, maybe they don't know. It's taken us a lot to get here, guys. Okay, and now it's obviously the hottest thing in wrestling, but basically because it's a male-dominated industry. And for so long, women have been trying to kind of be on more equal footing, which I still think to this day we're not quite there. I mean, just on a side note, I think the very fact that like in like WWE and AEW, like the women's championship is not like referred to as like the women's world heavyweight championship. Do you know what I mean? Like little things like that, I think are still or women's world championship. Like I just don't get why, if you want to make things equal, if you want to make it truly equal, then why not do that? Like, I don't understand why. Like, okay, one could make the argument, it's baby steps, it's steps, and like, okay, fine, that's reasonable, but like, why introduce these big changes, but then still have this thing that like pushes you in the wrong direction in a way? Do you know what I mean?
My thing is also the amount of plastic surgery a lot of these females have. Like, I'm just like, okay, I can't understand I'm trying to think how to word this without being a complete and total dick. Give me a second. Like, blonde, big tits, work done on the face, Botox. Cue the next person. Blonde, big tits, Botox.
I mean, this
Like,
is
where
easy
is the
though.
gimmick?
This kind of goes back to what I'll just finish the point I was making before as well, like about the industry being very heavily male dominated. Like back in the day, like women were just like eye candy in wrestling. Like they weren't.
Well, no,
like,
I mean, I still.
well, yeah, no, I know.
Sorry.
An element of that does exist. Like I agree with you, but like it was more the case back in the day than it is like today. Like, and obviously women come in all shapes and sizes and different looks and stuff. Some women are really massively into their femininity and really want to like showcase that. Other women are like, no, I just want to fucking fight, and like it's all good. Do you know what I mean? It's just like however you feel comfortable, right? But we've only sort of got to that point recently. Whereas, obviously, in the past, women were always kind of expected either to be, not even wrestlers necessarily, mostly like valets or like, so, yeah, literally eye candy for like a heel wrestler when they walk into the ring, or like a manager or something like that. So we've only really achieved that equal footing very, very recently. And I think it really goes back to that whole being a male-dominated industry, having these old-fashioned... approaches. People like Jim Cornette is an example. I used to be a really big fan of him.
He got me suspended off Twitter for 12 hours because I went in.
Right.
I forgot even what it was about, but I went in like hardcore, and I was just like, no.
I used to support him, but like now I draw the line. Like I know he's working a gimmick and that's his whole shtick and stuff, but like he does go too far. And his attitude is a perfect example for what we're talking about now.
Oh, the Alexa Bliss. That's what it was. When he said that dumb shit about Alexa Bliss, I was like, no.
No.
Was that him?
No, that was a different guy. I know what you mean. No,
never mind.
But no, he said the shit about Becky.
They all
Becky
say
Lynch.
so much stupid shit.
The guy who said the.
Oh no.
The guy who said the Becky Lynch comment. Sorry, the Alexa Bliss comment is some. I don't know.
from New York.
It's some like podcast or some arsehole, I don't know, whatever.
I got it completely confused. They both talk so much shit.
No, because no, Cornette said something equally as bad. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, but when she basically announced that she's pregnant and she's going to be a mother and all that, he said that like she's basically a fucking idiot for doing that because she's essentially like ruining her career by doing that, and like her best years are right now, and like basically like she's a fucking idiot for doing that. And he obviously put it in a very horrible, demeaning way. It wasn't like how I'm sort of trying to revise it now so it doesn't sound as bad. He was very expletatives, and like this again, like my point with this is that he's very old fashioned. He comes from a different era where like this shit was acceptable, and like you spoke about women in a certain way and you do things that's the thing. Times change, things change. I mean, fucking hell, he got fired from the NWA for making a racist joke, which it wasn't really even that bad. It was more, I think the issue was more that like, why are you using these worn out old jokes that have been like weren't really that funny back then and aren't funny now. I mean, well, racist jokes aren't funny anyway. But you like, if you heard what he said, it was a very like, okay. And I think they made the right decision and everything. But it kind of just goes to show that like people like him have been very prominent figures in the wrestling industry for a long time, and they've been the gatekeepers and stuff. And certainly,
I think they've just sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
I think they've just been allowed to do it. Like, my thing is the climate right now, with the president that we have right now in the United States, it's kind of deep. I don't even want to say president. Like, hashtag not my president. Like, go put this guy in a padded room somewhere. Like, no. So, the climate has been, we know this guy is a fucking racist. We know I can't even begin to describe it. Like, he promotes this negative, I I'm trying to think how to word it. My brain's not working.
I know what you mean. He's basically like,
There's so much. There's so much.
yeah.
Like, he's like, his whole, grab her by the pussy bullshit.
Oh
Like, all that
yeah, yeah.
stuff. Like, let me just put it under that umbrella. I'm like, let's be real here. Like, half the shit that Trump does, like, these people are all comfortable. Oh, our president does this, our president this, our president that. The president, in quotations, hashtag not my fucking president. He has security. He has people to hide behind. If you were going to be out in the open, like, and that's the thing with him being elected, I feel like a lot of closeted racists decided to come out because they felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't feel comfortable because I'll knock your ass out in the street. Like, you don't got security. You don't get to be racist. Let me catch you making white people look bad right now.
Playing devil's advocate for a minute, I agree with you, but at the same time, like, they probably more feel comfortable because, you know, the state protects them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it says a lot that, like, for instance, Black Lives Matter protests are shut down. And then, like, you know, like, Ku Klux Klan protesters are allowed to just walk freely and not get any trouble from the police and stuff. And, you know, shit like that kind of shows you everything you need to know about, like, the president's loyalties and who he's supporting. And like, these people are protected. I mean, and it's like you said, you know, I mean, it's such a stark contrast to, like, Obama's administration and his supporters to Trump. And I don't know. I mean, I feel very much like he treats it like a game, you know, because obviously he spent so many years in reality TV. I think he just kind of treats everything like a game. But everyone thinks he's stupid. He's not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's appealing to that, like, lowest common denominator mindset.
Yeah.
And it's working.
I think kind of really it's just he's not mentally or morally fit to be in office. And the problem is people get so wrapped up in what party they're going to vote for. And I'm just like, we need to get somebody to hold us in office. It's not about a party. It's not about, you know, I can't stand Republicans. Let me vote Democrat. I can't stand, you know, this double-sided thing. Like, I mean, for God's sake, you know, just put Marilyn Manson in office. At least, you know, he might wipe his ass with the American flag, but he'll tell you that he did it.
The trouble is, like, when you
tell you that he did it.
When you look at, like, who people who become president, like, I was shocked when Trump became president. Genuinely, yeah, I was like, this is really bad. But, like, I remember thinking as well that, like, yeah, he just had enough money. You know, in America, like, how much money you have dictates a lot of things. I mean, it dictates how protected you are with the law. Like, so many cases get, you know, closed on the basis of, like, people just not being able to afford to continue with the cases. So therefore, justice is not served. It's just who has more money and who can finish the case, basically. And then with presidencies and presidential campaigns, it's the same thing. You know, he's a billion. I think he's a billionaire, isn't he? Yeah.
Wait, but then he also has, like, all these weird bankruptcies. Like, you can't even run your company, but you can run a country. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, a lot of business. I mean, yeah, his track record is exceptionally bad, but, like, a lot of businesses do this, like, where they'll write off their failures into, like, one of the companies that are doing well. So, like, they'll, you know, transfer it, and so sometimes they do it on purpose. Actually, sometimes they do it to save on taxes and such, and it works. It's like creative accounting, basically. This is why, like, I'm very fucking cynical. Like, when it comes to, like, companies doing CSR, corporate social responsibility, I'm just like, yeah, you don't give a fuck about people. You're just doing this to save on taxes. That's the only reason you're doing this. So I just don't buy it when they're like, we're here for the people. We care about you. It's like, bullshit. You're a business. You don't fucking care about people.
For real. But no, like, while we're on the topic of money, I mean, let's just talk about how there's been no delay in filming for WWE since Corona started up until now, and how the governor changed their order to close the Performance Center. And I mean, Trump is in the Hall of Fame. Linda was in his cabinet, like, Jersey Shore hookup board. Here we go again. Like, and I would be considered a wrestling fan. I do like wrestling, but you can't ignore that they're in cahoots. You can't ignore that Trump put Vince McMahon in charge of reopening sports. Like, you can't deny that little cauldron brewing going on. Like, you can't just deny that
Yeah,
is
I mean,
a thing.
the
Like,
biggest
I'm like,
the biggest controversy was that they, under the state of Florida, they listed WWE as an essential business, which was just hilarious because it's just like
it
it's
is
clearly
because
not an essential business.
no, it's really not. I'm like, and the unneeded exposure, because you think about it in general.
Mm.
In general, before the virus, going to a show, they're leaving their home, they're flying, they're in an Uber or rent a car, they're in a hotel, they're eating at restaurants.
That's a very good point, actually. I never thought about that. Yeah, the whole travel of the wrestlers is just a fucking hotbed for spreading the virus.
Yeah, and that's one key point. Like, I'm like, okay, if they're from California, Arizona, or Florida, why the fuck are they working right now? Our numbers are ridiculous. Like, the numbers in these states, no. Just, like, if you didn't already have it, I shouldn't be laughing, but it's like, if you didn't, it's just so dumb that it just makes me chuckle. Like, if you didn't already have it, you about to hop on this plane and maybe get it, hop over to this car and maybe, like, how many games of Russian roulette do you want to play on a daily basis? Like, and then for them to try to be having us believe that the tapings are live, I'm like, look here, bitch. If they're posting on their Instagram 2 hours before the taping in a state that is clear across the country, we know they're not there.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, it's live, it's not live, it's live streaming.
Wait, it's this whole Vince McMahon WWE living in their own reality shit, because there's so much stuff. Like, I love wrestling, I love WWE. Yeah, but I also hate it as well. It's a very love-hate relationship, and it's mostly the stuff that I hate is all these, like, I guess they're like Vinceisms, things like, you know, what would be a good example?
CM Punk working sick as hell is a good example.
What do you mean? Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean that's just wrestling, though, isn't it? I mean that's kind of like, even CM Punk himself said that, like, you know, old-fashioned wrestlers, 70s, 80s, and before, were expected to wrestle injured. That's just a thing. But yeah, you're right. Like, the fact that they kind of did this thing of, like, never letting them have time off. Like, there's this really funny like, interview that CM Punk did, I think last year at StarCast, and the host, who was, I think it was Mike Johnson from PW Insider, but anyway, he basically said to him, like, oh yeah, did you know that, like, you know, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, you know, are on a holiday? And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you can have holidays now. And he's like, the fuck? Like, you can have vacations? He's like, yeah. And, like, you're probably, like, were the catalyst for that. And he's like, well, fuck, you know. But yeah, that's a very good example, actually, that having to work hurt. But I feel like there's bigger things that happen every week, like the fact that they're, like, almost afraid to like mention the competition, or like the fact that they have all these weird things like that, you know, you're not allowed to say. I got one. Yeah, go on.
The gag order on the virus. Like,
or not being allowed to mention it, you mean?
Yeah, like the whole gag order on it, because if you play your little Jersey Shore hookup board and you do, like, and here's the thing, like, just anybody really with some very basic puzzle piece reasoning skills can go, okay, Lana's parents had it, Rusev got it, you can't tell me the bitch don't got it. Who was she around? And then you do the timeline for the tapings. People that were around her have been on tapings.
I do agree with you. Like, I think if someone's...
you do your hookup board, Like
Yeah.
it don't follow, and it's like to honestly believe. Okay, so Rusev has it. She's in close proximity with him. They're doing their little Twitch shit. They're doing their little TikTok, whatever shit. Like, uh, you can't tell me. I mean, I'm not saying she had symptoms, but if parents got it and he got it and she lived there,
Yeah.
bitch got it. It's basic logic.
Yeah, I agree.
And then also, who's on? Oh, sorry.
No, I was just literally
Um.
going to say that I agree. Like, you know, if they know that, which they would have this information, just keep them off TV for a bit. You have so many fucking wrestlers on your roster. Like, why do you don't need that? This is another thing as well. Like, they make everyone come there and stuff, and like, because like I have very mixed feelings about wrestling right now in this era, because part of me is like I really admire the fact that they're doing this and they're making this entertainment for us week in and week out. But every like if you watch like AEW shows, right, it's like the guys come every week and they're in the audience and they're trying to make it a show and stuff, and I respect to them and stuff, but it's like you said before, they really are risking it, and it's the same with WWE. It's pretty much just people from NXT that are doing it, which I think is a little bit unfair as well, is making the NXT people be in the audience, or the performance people that are the people that are working to become athletes in NXT, because like none of the people on the road, like people that are on the SmackDown roster, for instance, are expected to like be in the audience for SmackDown, for example. Which is I just think that's a little bit unfair. Do you know what I mean? Because you got them wrestling on NXT, or actually no, I don't think it's. Oh no, there are some NXT wrestlers, but it's mostly the Performance Center trainees. But yeah. Yeah, I think WWE's handling of it has been a bit shady as fuck and shitty. It's good that they're wearing masks now. That's positive. So they did listen. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Vince isn't this total arsehole. Like, he will listen eventually and he will change things. I think he just kind of he tries to like push his luck with a lot of stuff. Like, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head about his relationship with Trump. I think that makes him very confident that he can just kind of do whatever the fuck he wants. But also, like, he wouldn't be where he is today if he wasn't a ruthless businessman.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, go ahead. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that until it starts to put people's health at risk. Like,
I agree.
It's not going out and okay, you know what, you're fucked up, but you still have to do this match. That's one thing. But then when it comes to like the virus and that personal responsibility, like, so okay, you can't tell me he don't. I mean, I honestly don't think he Instagrams. I don't think he really Twitters. I don't. But you can't tell me he doesn't have somebody who's watching their shit. So you see these people working for you, taking unnecessary risk, posting up on their story stuff that makes it very, very clear they're not taping live. Like, I'm just like, okay, so your employees are doing extra that they don't need to do that can get them infected. Do something about that. Like, you want to be this big control freak, this like, wrestling's not going to shut down. Okay, so why don't you start with telling your employees to stop taking unnecessary risk? Like, because like my job, they have all this bullshit up. Except for essential outings, you need to be staying home, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so
I wondered about this
like,
when this all started, and I was thinking like, oh, there's no way that wrestling will continue, surely. And it did, and I was like, okay, yeah, they've done it, they found a way, fine. But like, it did kind of make me think about like, okay, hypothetically, if WWE did like take a break, what the fuck would Vince do? Vince is a workaholic. He lives and breathes work.
He'd have a heart attack.
I think,
do you know, in the most joking way. Like,
yeah, like God bless his soul and stuff. But
this.
like, yeah, like I genuinely think he lives and breathes that, and like, it's both amazing and also worrying, because I think it's more than the money for him. Like, money is important to him and stuff, but like, seriously, what the fuck would he do? I know he works out a lot and he does, but he one of the reasons that like you can make the argument that he's out of touch, right, is that he's so heavily invested in what's going on in WWE, and he works so hard all the time that he just doesn't fucking have time for anything else. That's why the XFL thing was kind of blew my mind, because it was like, dude, you don't have time for this. The only way you can make this work is if you leave WWE, which ain't gonna happen, and focus 100% on XFL. And to his credit, he was making some steps to kind of transition to it, but like, it's not enough. You gotta. It's like he made WWE work by putting his heart and soul into it, and it worked, and he's nailed it. But like, to do the same with another business, a different industry, especially something with like American football, which is huge in the States and like way more than wrestling, like arguably so, in terms of like popularity and such. And to go against like an already established league, I mean, there's so many things standing against you. Do you know what I mean? And actually, fun fact, since we're talking about this, so The Rock now owns The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, today, or like around this time, purchased at the time of recording, actually, because this will come out later. But yeah, he's purchased the XFL. Like, you can't make this shit up. It's like a wrestling storyline.
Why though? Like,
I don't know. I mean, and he's bought it for cheap as well, 15 million. Like, fuck all. I mean, it's fair play. Maybe he can make it work. I think he could definitely get like, from a marketing standpoint, he could make it work and such. But like, I would be interested to see how the running goes, because I mean, he's not outright owner. He's owning it in association with some company. But he's essentially like the owner. So it'd be interesting. I don't know. But yeah, Vince couldn't make it work, and he didn't have any interest. Well, I mean, to be fair, no one could have foreseen what's happened right now. So that is a fact.
No, and I think it really goes to say a lot about the constructs that are in our daily lives that just kind of keep us focused and on task, and really just not sitting in one spot to think. Like, because if you think about it, like, if you take away the stores, except for like grocery stores, you take away the bars, you take away concerts, sporting events, like, you have a lot of time. You really have a lot of time on your hands.
It's really cool that you're bringing this up. Please continue. I'll chip in a second.
Well, it's because like I work in behavior and I work in psychology, and I have been doing that for about 5 years. And the more you think about behavior and the more you break it down, kind of the more interesting of theories you kind of get to. Because if you think about it, the simplest of things that we do or don't do, there's nothing really like, I mean, there's like that negative, oh, what if I get caught doing this? But you do these things mindlessly. You don't think about them. You don't, like, say you go into a store, you're not going to grab something and just walk out because, oh, well, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get arrested. But a lot of people will go and they'll steal from that store. They won't get caught. Nothing will happen to them. Like, and that's just like the most basic thing. You go to the store, you put your thing down, you pay for it, you walk out.
Yeah.
Or just that, oh shit, it's the cops. Like, little stuff like that kind of dictate our behavior. Kind of the fear of fucking up, basically, kind of dictates how we behave and the things that we do. And then we get so stuck like in our daily routines, our daily motions, that like we kind of don't branch outside of it. Like, we don't really branch outside the things that we do on a daily basis. Like, we shower, we work out, we eat, we go to work, but we don't really branch out of it. We don't find things that kind of like challenge what we are scared of, challenge what we feel is normal. Like, we just stay.
I think,
like, for me anyway. Oh, sorry.
I agree with you. All I was going to say is that, like, I think it boils down to fear. Like, it's interesting you mentioned this, because I've gone through a similar thing in my life, like the pandemic, basically being unemployed, having all this time. I've invested it heavily in YouTube, the podcast, streaming, every kind of thing I can do. But inevitably there is always time left, and outside of exercise and eating and shit, there's still like loads of time, and inevitably you start thinking. And you know, sometimes it's really, really good and positive, and sometimes it's really bad and negative and scary. And I think people are scared to get in that place in their mind because they maybe don't feel like that it's like safe, you know, like they need the distractions. Yeah. Or like, I don't know, like maybe they just kind of feel...
Oh, another example.
Go on.
The cabin. So there's a cabin that I will go to, and I will kind of just decompose. Like, I know people say decompress, but I say decompose because like I go there to rot. I go there to just rot. Like,
I go to there to die.
Yes. No, like, and I do because I always end up getting so loaded. Like, I die the next day. I'm like, fuck, I have to drive home, don't I? But like, with all the time and the quiet, like, you really get to thinking. Like, for me, all this quarantine stuff, all this bullshit kind of got me on this, you know what? Why am I not doing these outside projects? Why am I working for, I mean, it is a rewarding job, but why am I working to be normal? Why am I working to do this? It's not really a 9 to 5 because my hours can be crazy, but why am I working, doing something that isn't going to challenge me to be a better version of myself? That's not gonna give me that creative outlet. That's not gonna, you know, that's gonna leave me when I'm 45, 50 years old going, bitch, why didn't you do this? Like, because the older we get, the more we kind of back away from ourselves. Like, we back away from the things we used to be confident in. We used to feel we can do this, you know, the world is there. And then we get older, we get scared to take chances, even if it's like leaving a job for another job. Like, we get too cemented in where we are.
Yeah, I agree with you massively. I think responsibilities do change that, though. I mean, for instance, like if you're talking about changing a career, I mean, it's easy when you don't have kids or a family, but when you do have that, you got to think of them and consult them, and you know, it's not as straightforward because it's no longer just about you anymore.
It's also about being selfish, though. Like, really,
yeah,
to try to get somewhere, you have to be selfish. Like, there's plenty of wrestlers that will say that, plenty of bodybuilders, plenty of people will tell you you have to be selfish. And there's times you will miss birthdays, you will miss time with your friends. Like, being a busy person is being a very lonely person.
This is the thing. You got to be with someone that understands. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, wrestlers and their wives and stuff, often the marriages end, unfortunately, or they did traditionally. I think it's better these days because it's just a better industry in general. But yeah, you know, it was more difficult back then, and you know, you, like, especially if you worked for a company like the WWE or WWF, you know, you'd be working basically 300 days a year. So you just really wouldn't get any time for yourself. So yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Like, I think that it's just one of those things. I think, like, people just have to put themselves in a positive mindset and like try to, as you said, like.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's not positive. It's just, it's like neutral. Like, I'm trying to say it as neutral, but it kind of does come off negative.
No, what I mean by the positive mindset thing is like a positive mental attitude and approach towards life. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need that because, like, if you don't have that, if you're a negative piece of shit, you just won't get anywhere in life. And it works with everything. It's like people won't want to date you because you're just negative. If you're positive, if you're full of energy, you know, people just naturally want to come near you and gravitate towards you because it's attractive, right? And not just on a sexual level, just in general. You know what I mean? It's attractive. But there's like other layers to it. And, you know, for instance, like everything in my life right now has been going really well. And I put it down to like because my attitude has been better and I've just been like taking up chances, being really positive, not being afraid. That's a big thing as well, is not being afraid, like you said, to take the risks in life, to like go for things, and to be selfish. I think that's a worry, is like people think, oh, if I don't put the needs of others around me, then I'm selfish. And it's like, I think the point that people miss is, if you're not happy in your life, that is selfish, because you're, by not taking care of yourself and by not making sure that you're happy, in turn you're going to have a shitty, miserable, you're not going to be happy, and then the people around you will be affected by that, and that, I think, is selfish.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, everyone is different. I know with relationships, sometimes you get couples where one side is more clingy than the other, or maybe they're both independent, or you know what I mean. Like, relationships are like that, but I think it always works best when you got two people that just like understand and like have their own lives but meet in the middle, and like it just works.
People still do relationships? What?
Say what? I mean, I look for them. That's, is that so old? Are relationships not in anymore? Is that not a thing anymore? Have we gotten rid of that?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Jesus. That's depressing to think about.
Situationships? What?
Situationship. That's a new
what
term.
Everybody get into. They get into these situationships. They're like, you know what? I want to get my ass tapped. I'm going to get on Bumble for a few minutes. That's what they be doing now, like Bumble.
That's just hooking up with people. That's not a...
That's a situationship.
No, that's just casual sex.
They save their number in the phone.
Okay, right. Moving swiftly on. Let's switch it up. So
I joke around a lot.
Yeah, no, I dig it, man. It's fun. This is a very different podcast. We've gone into a lot of interesting things, actually. I always like to just have long conversations, but we need to bring it back and get back to asking you some questions.
Okay.
And also make it positive as well, because it's not all doom and gloom. We've been talking about wrestling. When did you get into wrestling?
I've been watching since I was like 6 or 7 years old.
And do you remember like your first time? Like, how did that happen?
I honestly don't. Like, that's a weird fact about me. A lot of my childhood, I just simply do not remember.
Okay, fair enough.
Like that, it's strange. It's very strange.
Everyone's different. It can be for various reasons. It can be just poor memory. It can be trauma. It can be like a mixture of things, kind of.
Oh no! Fun fact. I was actually dead for 5 minutes when I was 18.
I was going to ask you about this later, but let's talk about it now. Yeah, tell us about your near-death experience.
I make my little jokes about like having like 1 foot in the grave based on that premise. Like, I make my little haphazardly horrible jokes.
Okay.
There's it's not really something that I really get into.
Okay. Are you not comfortable talking about it?
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I was young, I was stupid, I got extremely fucked up, and I died, and they brought me back.
Do you recall anything? Because, I mean, there's a lot of stories, isn't there, when people have near-death experiences that, or if they literally die and are resuscitated and brought back to life, that they see something, maybe a light, maybe a sound, whatever. Do you recall anything like that?
I just, honestly, it was this weird, like, even now I still have a phobia. Like, it wasn't like, oh, let me see a bright light.
Okay.
It was like the lights in the room. Like, and it was just the lights in the room, and then I was like over my own body. Like, there wasn't. Wow. All these people are like, I'm religious, I'm not religious. Like, for me, the extent of what it was, that's what it was. Like, I saw my own body. Like, and it was the strangest experience that I've honestly you know. And
Do,
so I make jokes that I have like a foot in the grave because of it. Like it's a dark way to joke about it, but
Okay, so you saw your
yeah.
vessel, you saw your body, but did you see yourself? Like, were you like a spirit maybe, or did you have no form
I
at all? Can you recall
I
anything like that?
was looking like I was looking down. Like it wasn't. It was weird. Like it
Okay.
was just a very strange, very strange experience.
Were there any like feelings? Did you feel anything? Like, was it cold or warm or any sensations or anything like that?
It was just like a buzzing sound, and then
Okay,
the lights of the room.
right. And was it very quick or did it feel longer? Like,
I honestly don't really like. There wasn't like a span of time. Like it
okay,
was just it was, and then like it wasn't, and then like that time goes black until very late in the next day.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's like, incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those things. Whenever I read about them, actually, interestingly enough, like, and this is what I tend to base my beliefs on. If you get a lot of stories that correlate, like too many to like pass up, then you can kind of like say pretty much definitively, like, okay, this is indication of something. And certainly with everyone
Mhm.
that talks about near-death experiences, that thing of seeing your own body, I've heard that a lot. I've read that a lot. And also the
Mhm.
thing about the bright light or like
Oh no, that was like the light. That had to be like the lights in the room because I know for a
okay.
fact now, like the devil will not take my ass. He will put a restraining order. He will take it to the courts. Get the fuck out of hell.
Wow. I think if I've ever heard someone say that. Like, the devil don't want me, he's scared of me. Why do you like wrestling?
It's really just. I mean, it's honestly the Undertaker. Like when I was a kid,
So
that was
such a
like I'm
straightforward
saying.
answer. Just
I
well,
wanted.
the Undertaker. That's it.
I wanted to have a complex answer, but I mean, I really don't. Like
Hey,
it's
no,
just
dude.
that dark.
There are no right or wrong answers. There is no complex or short answer. Your answer is your answer. That's fucking badass.
Mhm.
Undertaker. But why
Yeah, because I mean,
Undertaker?
it's that dark theatric. Like nobody else
Mm,
could make that type of gimmick really work. Like I mean, Bray Wyatt is really cool, but it's now it's a different era. Like with all the social
yeah.
media stuff, like all the transparency. Like I mean, it's just it was that dark theatrics. It was just the way he played the gimmick and everything. Like it's just that was it for me. That was the shit. Like
Mm.
it, it just I mean it was what it was. Like it was like probably Undertaker and Mankind the Hell in a Cell match. I was like, yes, like just yes.
Okay, but like these kind of to me sound like more like the things that got you into it. Like, what keeps you watching week to week? Like, why? Because obviously, you've been watching wrestling for like 20 or more years. Same with
Mhm.
me. I discovered it randomly when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I think I just randomly switched the channel and there's like people throwing steel chairs at each other's heads and shit. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, just didn't see it for another couple of years, and then I had a best friend when I was about 8 or 9 that just introduced me to just everything, and I was just hooked
Mhm.
ever since. And obviously through the years it's changed, and my appreciation of it has changed. And I was the same as you. I really dug the theatrics of like the wrestling and the promos and stuff
Mhm.
originally, and then I got into the in-ring product. Uh, I guess as I got older, once I understood it a bit more, and like like for
Mhm.
instance, I understood like that you can watch a match and just the match with no gimmicks can be like really amazing if the two wrestlers involved tell it in the right way. Like whenever they talk about
Yeah.
storytelling, um, I know what they mean. And like for instance, like just off the top of my head, like I think a good professional wrestling match that's like got everything that you need. That's a good way of explaining it would be like Goldust versus Cody. I think it was All Out, wasn't it? Or no, it was their first one, probably Double or Nothing. But anyway, that had everything that you wanted. It had emotion. It had the in-ring product. It had a bit of everything. And that's the thing.
Mhm.
Like when I try to explain wrestling to other people, it isn't definitive. Because, like, at the same time, yeah, there is that, and that would be, like, the best way to kind of say, hey, this is, like, in a nutshell, the beauty of wrestling and what it can be. But then wrestling is also, you know, serious Japanese wrestling that's portrayed more as, like, boxing style, or, you know, the lucha libre wrestling and its heritage in Mexico. And there's so many different styles. You know, you got in, like, Britain, you got catch wrestling and strong style. It's, like, so many different styles, approaches, presentations, you know, flavors. You know, it's. I think it's like a big buffet where, you know, you got a little bit of everything, and different things appeal to different people. But yeah, to get back to the question though, like what keeps you invested in it, and what things do you like? What do you hate? Like, tell us a bit about that.
I mean, for starters, like, in all honesty, I have not been watching wrestling consistently since the pandemic started, because at first it was, you know, there not being an audience, like, it was just weird. Like,
Yeah,
it just felt weird. It was strange. Like, I was just, like, not having it, you know. And then I have watched some of it. What I do still like is some of the matches, you know, and of course I really do enjoy what they have done with Bray Wyatt. I did really like I'm completely drawing a blank right now. Damn, I need sleep. Oh my god. I really did like the Boneyard match.
Me too.
I'm trying to think of some other really good, you know, content. I honestly haven't really been watching it that much.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Like, for me, I'm very picky. Like, I basically watch everything AEW because I just genuinely love it. It's like wrestling from like 15 years ago. It's brilliant. It's like how WWE used to be back in the day. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then with WWE, to be honest with you, I kind of feel like there's just too much to watch. So, like, I watch all the pay-per-views. That's kind of my thing now. I watch the pay-per-views, but I don't watch the week to week, because you can kind of catch up through the pay-per-views, and the pay-per-views are always better anyway, for the most part, not always.
Yeah.
But, like, the actual week to week product is so inconsistent with WWE. Like, if you take like Raw and SmackDown, like, they're either excellent and like must see TV, or they're just like really shit and boring. There's no like consistency with them. Whereas if you take like NXT, okay, like that's kind of considered like the wrestling show, which is fine. But for me, there's just something off about the. I don't know what it is. Like, there's just something about the presentation that just puts me off, and it's the same reason that I don't watch like Impact Wrestling or like other promotions. Like, presentation, I think, is really important. It doesn't have to be glitz and glamour and all this shit, but like everything from like the commentary, the way it's shot as well is a big factor, I find, as well. So, like, the way a NXT is filmed just kind of pisses me off. I feel like there should be more storylines. Like, okay, if it was just like the wrestling show and you're not really caring about making it like the best TV show, then fine, right? But when they went live, when they went head to head with AEW, which they were going to do anyway, right? Going on I think it's the USA Network, isn't it? You know, that's like a commitment to make it a proper TV show, and I just still feel like it's lacking in the storylines. Like, I feel like with wrestling, it's wonderful when it's like, you know, just one-on-one rivalry and it's intense and stuff, but I feel like you do need like other stuff, stakes, silly shit, whatever, to kind of make the feuds more interesting.
It's too predictable.
Yeah, you know,
it's too predictable.
I think it depends on the wrestlers. I mean, if it's like some really excellent wrestlers, like I don't know, like Sasha Banks versus Charlotte, right? They don't need much to make a feud, and you know it'll be, you know, the wrestling will be good. They'll make an entertaining thing, but they'll probably have like a little bit of a storyline within why they hate each other or whatever, right? But like, even if they didn't like fixate on the storyline, they just had the wrestling, it would be excellent. But then there's other people I feel that like they really do need more of a storyline to make you care about the final match, you know, or like.
I also think.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, go ahead. I also think that it's just too predictable that certain wrestlers are very clearly going to lose the feud. Like, so it's just like, why are we even watching this right now? Like, because you're gonna do them dirty anyways. Like,
I think WWE is the worst for that because with AEW, and this isn't like, I love all types of wrestling, so if you're gonna shout at me, I couldn't give a fuck. I just like wrestling. But if we are gonna tear stuff apart a little bit, I think that AEW has so far done very well with building people up, giving people opportunities, all of this stuff, right? With WWE, they either nail it, like I think there's three categories with WWE. Either they fucking nail it and they just do someone really well, like someone like Seth Rollins. They've just been so good with him. They've made him super babyface, super heel, like everything. Like they just really done him the right way, and always his storylines have always been really interesting. And yeah, but then other people, like, they just drop the ball with, you know, like, okay, it doesn't really count now, but you know, Apollo Crews, like, they've started to give him a bit of a push now, and it's going well. But like, I remember the first time they started giving him a push, they did it with a bunch of people. They would go like hot on like Ricochet or Cedric Alexander or something, and you'd be like getting invested in them slowly, and then randomly they just start jobbing them out, and you're like, oh, okay. And like, I know they say like wins and losses don't matter, but if you consider that like the principal thing about wrestling is the ability to suspend your disbelief, right? You know it's not real, but in order to like, in the same way that when you watch a movie, you want to be able to suspend your disbelief. Like if you see bad acting, it takes you out of it, right? Or something is illogical, it takes you out of it. It ruins the experience. And I feel with wrestling, it's the same. If you've got a guy who you're building up, and then he loses like 3 times in a row or something, and then you give him like a title shot or something, it's like, well, why the fuck is this guy getting a title shot? He's losing. You're beating him all the time. Yeah, go on.
My thing I could think of, there's a few people that come to mind. For one, they already, in my opinion, they're fucking up with The Fiend. They fucked up with Bray Wyatt's character so many times. And then another one that comes to mind is just, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can take an educated guess who I'm talking about. If you've been in a company for 15 years and they've been jobbing you out for 15 years, I fail to understand how you can keep a positive attitude about that, because I know, like,
and they just stop-start with these people though. Like, I think you're talking about Naomi, aren't you? Probably.
No. I mean, they do her dirty too, though. Like, she's extremely athletic, extremely talented, you know, and they don't do jack shit for her. Then the same thing, like, explain to me why Natalya is where she is at, but yet Charlotte is where she's at. Like, what?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, because they're both excellent wrestlers, but yeah, Natalya has always been excellent, whereas Charlotte's a very new prospect. But then she's an NXT original, isn't she? Like they basically trained her direct from the Performance Center, which, to be fair, is amazing. Like, she's one of the best in the industry now, and she came entirely out of WWE's system. So I think like part of it is having that homegrown talent at the top. I think that's the kind of key. Because whereas you got to remember, Natalya was trained in the Hart basement. You know, it's all because of the Hart family. It's got nothing to do with WWE. She just has opportunities to wrestle for WWE, but like her talent comes from like years of hard work, wrestling in under that family, wrestling for different promotions, you know, stuff like that. And they have this problem of like not often pushing people that were born elsewhere. Like, not everyone, you know, they've sent AJ Styles to the moon, so they do it sometimes, but not often. So I know what you mean. But like, for me, the bigger issue is like this inconsistency that they have with everything. Like, you mentioned The Fiend. He's a really good example. So like, you have him lose to Goldberg, right? 40-year-old part-time or 50-year-old, whatever, right? It's really dumb. and it's to set up something else, right? And the problem is, Fiend goes straight to Cena, which is like okay, but then what about after that? Are you not going to go back to Goldberg? It's just never spoken about again. It's like, oh, okay, no, we beat him, title comes off him, and yeah, okay, maybe you make the argument that, oh, we just wanted to get the title off him, right? But then for that to make sense, it would be that, okay, he never goes for the title again and we just make him a character. But bang, he's back in the title picture again, right? So it didn't make any logical sense from that perspective, right? And yeah, you're right. Like his title reign was crappy. Like they messed it up. But it's mainly the illogical side of things. It's fine for a guy to lose. Someone like the Fiend shouldn't be losing that often. So like when he does lose, it should be like a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like when he lost to Goldberg, they should have made that into a thing. It should have been like part of a storyline instead of just being. I don't know. Oh yeah, he lost to him, and that's it. We never talk about it again. But that pisses. But it's this typical WWE bullshit. It's like you expected you to just forget that the past exists, and just focus on what's going on now. And that's why the whole wins and losses don't matter attitude is stupid. Because you just be like, well, hang on. What about when this person lost to this person? Or what about like this instance? And then they're just like, they just don't talk about it. They just. They either hide stuff or, try and like do that revisionist history bullshit. They're just, it's a Vince thing. He's just living on a different planet. And I think that there's so many things that WWE does right, but there's so much that they do wrong. And it's frustrating, I think, because we all grew up on like, different eras, golden era, new generation, attitude era. Like for me, it was attitude era and particularly the ruthless aggression era. And back then, I mean, it was just more pro wrestling, really, wasn't it? I think. I mean, it was sports entertainment, but it had more. I don't know. I guess aggression. Just something. It had something that it just doesn't have now. It's a bit too.
It had more shock value. Like you honestly didn't know what was going to happen. It wasn't
right.
Whatever this is now.
There's a lot of cringe shit actually. I think on WWE that makes it painful. Like, I think the fact that, like, I remember hearing someone say that like it's difficult to take them seriously when you got one of your female wrestlers going, yeah, I'm gonna kick her butt, and it's like no. You need her to say like, I'm gonna fucking kick her ass and beat the shit out of her. Like when they let Shayna Baszler just say whatever the fuck she wanted, it worked perfectly because she's this like UFC badass, so you believe her anyway. She's basically just female Brock. Where
is Brock? Like that's a.
Oh come on, we don't want Brock.
Where is Brock?
Don't want Brock around, man. We've had too much Brock.
I want Brock around, but I don't want this Brock. I want like Brock who busted Cena wide the fuck open. Brock. Like I don't want this Brock.
Brock is boring, man. Brock has been boring since like. I think the last time he was interesting was probably his feud with Goldberg. That was the last time because his whole thing is boring. It's so predictable, the storyline. He comes in, he tears through everyone, gets to the championship, has the championship for a year, and then someone comes along who they want to put over and make the next guy, and then he puts them over, and then that's it. And then he goes away, and then he comes back. It's just so fucking boring and predictable. And in the process of doing that, right, like, okay, he makes one guy, but he buries like 6 other people. Do you know what I mean? And like those guys that have those shots, like, oh, you could argue like, oh, being in a match with him is a big deal, and it's like, yeah, but okay, but like it's not like wrestling the Undertaker where people remember it and remember the match and like it's a big deal. Like when he squashes, his whole match is to squash you. Very rarely is there a match where like it's competitive. Some recent reminders I think of competitive ones for me are like versus Finn Balor. Like the Finn Balor match was excellent because it made you believe that like he actually had a chance of winning. The build-up was fantastic. The actual match was perfect, brilliant. It was a good feud, and when he lost, it didn't feel like really bad. It was like, yeah, no, this was good. It doesn't matter that he lost. Like, this was good. This was believable. That's how you use Brock. You make him actually fucking wrestle and like put over a guy. He doesn't have to lose. He just has to like put over the guy, sell. I mean, in fairness, in more recent years, he's been selling a lot more. You know, I'm not trying to shit all over Brock. I just think I just don't like the way he's booked. I don't like this, you know, tear through everyone.
Yeah,
squash
and I
matches
don't like
for
the
a
way
year.
he's booked either.
Yeah. I mean, because some people say like, oh, it's just him, you know, he does it his way and that's that. But like, you know, it all at the end of the day comes down to Vince and what Vince wants. You know, Brock wants the money. Brock is a prize fighter guy, right? But he's a good guy. Like, he'll do what he's told. He won't fuck around. It might be funny with working with certain people potentially, but from what I understand, from what everyone says and like the way he works in the ring and everything, it seems that he's very motivated to work with certain people. I think he just has to like know that they're professional and know that like they're on the same mindset as him. Do you know what I mean? Like, often he'll say like, oh, I want to work with this guy. Like, I think he suggested that he wanted to work with Balor. That was one that he was like, yeah, I want to work with Balor. Like, you know, like, so yeah, he's a smart guy. He knows what the fuck he's doing. For me, it's frustrating as well because the beginning of Brock's career was amazing. I mean, his first 3 or 4 years was just like fucking insane. It was great. Some of the best, most memorable matches ever. You know, him versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19. Like his feud with the Big Show. You know, just tearing everyone originally when he came. You know, just there's so many classic moments. And like, okay, when he came back, it was different. But like, you know, there was some good feuds with him and Cena, him and Triple H, Undertaker, obviously. You know, like, it's not that he can't do it. It's just that like, I guess it's a combination of motivation.
They don't book him.
Well, okay, like whoever's decision it is to like have him do that year-long thing, like that's the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one thing if you have him like win the championship, right, for like, and he holds it for like 3 months or something, and he does that. That's fine. You can still do that same storyline, but if you do it shorter and you have like a quicker end goal and stuff, like okay, let's say he comes in at like Rumble or something. Do you know what I mean? Around Rumble time, and he like wins the Rumble, or he, I don't know, some shit around then, and then, you know, it's building up to a WrestleMania match, and he's tearing through everyone. Do you know what I mean? Shit like that makes sense. It's like, okay, yeah, we're going to bring him for the most profitable time of the year. He'll probably put someone over at WrestleMania. He'll get the pay dates that he wants, so it's, you know, it works for him. And in the process, he builds a guy. He builds a feud. Maybe you get 2 feuds out of it because it's a space of 4 months. You know what I mean? Like, that's just smart booking. I mean, okay, I'm not like some booker, but it just seems like when you study like how they like the times that the fans are happiest and like we're all enjoying it the most is when like it's structured in that more sensible way versus, I mean, that whole Brock year-long thing, I think they did it like 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years. And both times was just grueling. It was like, I mean, I think in a way it kind of works. I remember when like Roman finally beat Brock, I was actually just, because I wasn't a fan of Roman at that point, because it was just like, you know, him being shoved down our throats. But I was actually so fucking grateful when he won it, because I was like, well, at least he'll fucking wrestle for the title, and like we'll actually see the title and the person that's holding it. And do you know what I mean? Like,
what about the ridiculous amount of F5s though? Like that match was ridiculous. Like,
which one are we talking about? Is that the WrestleMania one or the one afterwards?
I'm trying to remember which one it was. It was the one where like he took like, I think, damn near 10 F5s over here. Like, I'm like, what is your overall? Like 200%? Like, what the fuck? Like, it was just ridiculous. I was like, okay, so you're just like, what, ruining who's supposed to kick out of what for like the whole rest of the year right now? Because no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't like that, like constantly using your finisher.
It reminds me of this God, what the fuck is his name? I can't think of his name. He's like a YouTuber, and is he a YouTuber? He does like comedy shit, and he like walks into the screen and he's like he's featured in an Alcaleb Gears of War fail compilation video, and he walks in and he's like, this is not okay. This is cancer. This is so much cancer. I can feel the tumors growing on my back, and it's weighing down heavy on me, and it's not okay.
Jeez.
That's what that was. That's what all those F5s was like. This is
I think Brock just likes to throw people around the ring. I think that's what it is. Because at the moment his big thing is just like doing the fucking endless is it release German suplexes that he does? Like just endlessly does, you know, and like I swear sometimes he just does it for a kick, particularly if he has a smaller guy, because he can just throw him like halfway across the ring and just be like, yeah, lol.
Oh my god! Now you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go get Sable in the bed. Now you ready, bitch? We're gonna go to the other side of the bed.
I am okay. Moving swiftly on.
Oh my god! I couldn't. That's just the joke that popped into my head.
Yeah.
I was like,
I have a feeling
that's a whole nother kind of ride.
I have a feeling, like, from what I've heard about the guy, he's very like calm and collected and like a different person in real life.
It's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Of course. Well, speaking about romantic interests in wrestling, you're a huge fan of Dolph Ziggler. And I know this because you endlessly tweet at him all the time and you're constantly supporting him. So obviously you're a fan of him, but like, what's the situation here? Why are you so fixated on Dolph Ziggler? What's the deal there?
I like to make a lot of sarcastic like comments and jokes, and honestly they're not really that serious. I have a fair amount of respect. I'm like, if you can be in a company for 15 years and get shit on and still, you know, when you're doing these interviews, you have a positive attitude about it, like that has my respect. But like the little like hashtag man crush whatever bullshit, like it's just shits and giggles. Like that's really what that is.
I agree with you so much. I think it really frustrates me that he's not.
Go ahead.
He's not a champion. Like, I know championships don't really fucking matter in the grand scheme of things, but like, you know, I mean, okay, if you look at it from the industry perspective, it's like when they give you the title, they want to make you the guy, right, or the girl, and like you're, you know, at the top and you're making the most money, and you know you're talking people into the building basically. And he only got that chance once. And they've done it with other people. It's not just him. They've done it with The Miz as well. And it's like a bit of a weird one because it's like, okay, why not? I mean, you know, like The Miz is excellent on the mic. Yeah, he's not the greatest wrestler in the world, but like he's convincing and he's fantastic as a heel. He can be a babyface. He can do anything. And Ziggler, I mean, he's got everything. He's got the charisma. He's excellent on the mic. He's fucking insane in the ring. He's basically Shawn Michaels 2.0. It's just like, and as well, like he wasn't always that way. When he first started, he was pretty athletic, but then in the space of like, let's say 3 to 5 years, he sort of became like the Dolph Ziggler we know today. And incidentally, like that was, I think it was actually within 4 years. Did he win the title? No, he won the title in 2011, didn't he? If I remember correctly. So either 2010 or 2011, but like he debuted somewhere around 2006 with the Spirit Squad, and that was painful. But point being that he I
thought it was hilarious.
Well, it was, but it was like
cringy.
You know, I think that's not even the issue. It's more like, what was the fucking point of it? Like the whole point of it was to have something to feed to DX, right? To like have them like a numbers game, because like obviously there's like 5 or 6 Spirit Squad members and then like 2 members of DX, right? So and then eventually they get their comeuppance, but they essentially just got jobbed out at the very end and sent back to OVW, and then out of all of them, the only ones that really wrestled after that were obviously Dolph Ziggler and I think Kenny Dykstra, whatever the fuck his name is. He wrestled a little bit on the main roster and then left, and then I think the rest of them don't wrestle anymore. So,
They're like, fuck this. But no,
yeah.
I honestly, like, as far as a lot of the wrestlers go, I wouldn't consider myself an, in quotations, fan of a lot of these newer people, because I don't see it like that. For me, I see them as an individual. Like, if you're talking about somebody like The Undertaker, Mick Foley, maybe even Brock, I don't know, maybe they would be on that level of like, oh yeah, I'm a fan. I would it would blow my mind. Like, I'm like, am I having a conversation with this person? But I mean, I've met quite a few famous people, and it doesn't faze me. Like, I used to go to all these concerts. I have a Louis bag that is signed by Killswitch Engage. Like,
Nice.
I don't, oh my God, you're famous. Like, I will talk to, say whatever, no differently. I mean, there is a select maybe 5 individuals on the planet that I would just totally lose my shit. Like, oh my God, I'm talking to this person.
Right.
So I mean, like, I wouldn't really, it wouldn't really be labeled as a fan. Like, it's just, I have a very large amount of respect. And honestly, it's funny. Like, I'll say shit for shock value. I'll tag random other people, say dumb shit. Like, people take Twitter and social media way too seriously. They really do. Like, I just fail to understand. I'm like, look, the point of this, like, if you're going to sit here and talk like you talk in real life, that is so, so boring. I mean, I could put on a show and act weird, you know, but I don't take it seriously. Like, people, oh, are you single? Are you dating people? Are you this? Are you that? I'm like, I'm staying awake for 23 hours working on a project. Well, I feel bad that I have time for nobody. Like, not really. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Is that like by choice with working on those projects for that long amount of time?
Well, it's like, so you have my time to work out,
right,
my time to do things that I need to do with responsibilities I have. There's, you know, if there's shit I have to go and take care of, there's my 8-hour work shift. Then there's trying to fit in, okay, so this is what I'm trying to work on. This is my deadline. This is what I need to get done today because I have this one day off. But then the next 3 days I'm working a 16-hour shift, but I still have things I need to take care of. Like,
right, yeah.
It's like that.
Just on the celebrity thing as well, like, because I interviewed a celebrity from Estonia, and it blew my fucking mind when I interviewed him because I was starstruck and I wasn't expecting him to coming back. And I'm kind of the same as you, you know, like I meet celebrities, I'm starstruck, but I keep it normal, and then I, you know, like in my demeanor, and then I, you know, obviously just treat them like a normal human being because they are normal human beings. They just happen to be famous. But I can't, I'm like a little kid. I still can't get rid of that feeling. And it's weird for me, like when I was interviewing this guy that I was interviewing, I even told him that I was, you know, a bit nervous and stuff, and he was all chill and nice and just really gentlemanly. But even now afterwards, I'm like, I can't believe I did that, and that happened, and like we're still talking and conversing and stuff, and I'm just like, this is weird, like but I guess there's like a detachment. Like, if you don't think about it, then it's not, do you know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people that like know famous people like personally, and often, you know, it's just a normal friendship, isn't it? Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. It's weird. Fame is a weird thing. I think I think it is pretty weird how starstruck people can be. Like, I've never been like an obsessive person. Like in that, like I don't understand that. I don't understand how people can like lose their fucking minds when they see a famous person, or like their behavior changes. Like, fundamentally, go on.
Oh, go ahead. What I don't understand, like, okay, this is unpopular opinion, it really is.
Okay.
It's along that line of like ring rats and stuff like that.
Okay,
and people say, like, because there's a fine line. Like, I'll make jokes, I'll say outlandish shit, but at the end of the day, it's a work. It's not in real life. I'm not going to, oh, I tagged this chick saying I'm going to do some weird shit, you know, or I'm like, oh, you didn't know I was already in your room, like some random shit, you know, it's a joke, it's a work, but you got these people that because somebody's famous, like they'll have a fiance, they'll have a significant other, they'll be living with this person, and yet they'll be on Twitter over here talking about, that's my side boo, like, and I can't wrap my head around that level of just disrespect. Like, it's like the mindset that back when like Warped Tour, My Chemical Romance was touring, Project Revolution, with these girls that they were between like 13 and 25, and there was actually these two women that me and my sister met. Mm-hmm. That they would follow My Chemical Romance around. They were I think they were like 18 or 19, maybe 20, and they were maxing out their credit cards to follow this band around in their box car of all things. And the only reason we even knew about the box car is we went to God, what the fuck was it? I want to say it was Project Revolution. It was in Marysville, I think. Yeah, it was. And our dumbasses, we had shit for brains. Like, at that age, we had fucking shit for brains. Like, I'm gonna go here. It's a 3-day concert. Struggling, can't get nobody, no adult to get us a hotel room. You know what? We're gonna camp out. Like, it was some shit. And so, of course, because we had alcohol, these people wanted to come and creep, and they're like talking to us, and this bitch wants to tell her whole life story. You know, they follow so-and-so around, and they've been doing it for a year. And it's that kind of very juvenile mentality of, okay, so they don't have like this whatever the fuck, like, morphs to go from complete and utter just obsessive fangirling, fanboying, whatever, you know, whatever their gender, to go from that to, okay, so I'll go and I'll see a show, I'll put my ass in a seat for this person. I might like their music, I might like their artwork, I might like whatever. But yeah, you're not going to do something that will jeopardize your bills, your job, anything like that, your home life, to see this person, to try to hook up with this person or whatever. And I find stuff like that really that gets on my last fucking nerve. I'm like, if you are over 30 years old and you are following these individuals around and you're spending hundreds of dollars to do this, and you have so at home or whatever, like, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, and then the funniest part is the person that I'm kind of throwing a little bit of shade on, not only do they got a significant other.
Oh, is this someone that still
you ready
does
for
this?
Yeah, no, it was funny because she got so upset and so mad because I don't filter what I say. I don't. I'm like, I don't give two fucks. If this person want to block me, bye. Like, I'm sorry. You know, it is what it is. Like, and she got upset because I was like, you don't need to be, it was about somebody. I was like, you don't need to be calling him your side boo. That is disrespectful as fuck. Because in general, if you're calling somebody that, like, that's degrading to them. That's like, oh, you know, to me, I just found it to be like funky. I was just like, I made some smart comment and she wanted to go on this whole tirade, this whole thing. This is an inside joke. This is that. Okay, I don't care whether it is, whether it isn't, whether you're lying, whether you're not lying. Like, that's disrespectful. You have a significant other. And it's not like it's speculation. There's actual pictures or whatever up of this person and her significant other. And then I'm like, not only that, but you also have an OnlyFans. You're selling pictures of your pussy for $12 a month. And you're gonna go in on me? You're gonna go in on me, but you're selling pictures of your pussy for $12 a month.
It's a strange world we live in, man.
Like, girl, like, I mean, and I'm not hating on people that do the OnlyFans stuff. I'm really not, because I could see where it can make money. I
don't
could see
get
where
it.
it could be a fetish thing.
I don't get it. I did a video on this a while back, and I said in that video that, like, where do you draw the line? Like, you know, porn, for instance, is freely accessible. Right, you don't need to pay to access that, right? So then one can make the argument, okay, so maybe the allure of OnlyFans is getting access to specific people that you fantasize about, like very specific people. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
fine. But then let's say that you pay for it, yeah, and you get those photos, and you save them and such. Then what? I mean, you can only take so many photos of yourself naked before someone kind of gets the idea, okay, this is what they look like naked. then what? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm not trying to be a dick about this. I'm just trying to be, like, reasonable.
It's funny. It's funny.
Well,
like,
because,
and
like
I said,
like, okay, like,
know.
if you start it, let's say you start an account, and you're doing, like, teasing, so you're never, like, showing everything, you're just teasing, right? That could work, because you can continually post these tease pics, but then eventually people will get bored of the tease pics, so you have to, like, show a bit more, until the point where you reach that end of, like, showing everything, and then you kind of...
You're like, here's my pasty white ass.
Here's what my ass looks like from
Hashtag
this angle.
diaper line. Hashtag diaper line.
Just
Get it because you be tanning or that? Yeah.
we're just a fucking weird species. Anyway,
But no, I gotta say that it's like, I'm not trying to hate on all people that do that. It's just, to me, I'm like, okay, you have a significant other. You said some stupid shit. Somebody decided to say something. Oh well, like this chick wanted to go on a rant. Like, I swear she was probably about to throw her phone. I was just like, okay. I'm like, bitch, can I just like, honest to God, I would just love to just spray her down with a whole can of Quick Tan just to watch her get mad. Like, I was just like, and you sell pictures of your vagina for $12 a month. You can't even make it $20 a month. Like, or is it $5 a month? And like, I'm like, oh my God. And
hey,
she's literally...
I mean, you shit on that, but like, if you have enough people paying that amount, you can make a ton. Like, did you see how much...
Oh, no.
You know when Belle Delphine announced that she was doing it, right? I looked at the figures.
Yeah.
And it was like... I think she was charging like £10 a month. So I can't remember the exact amount. But basically, based on the amount of people that signed up, she was earning a ton of money. And that was just on the initial sign-ups. But she'd already made like hundreds of thousands from it. And I was like, that's fucking insane. Insane amounts of money that people will regularly pay as well. That's the crazy thing. Like, that's more what I don't get. Like, I don't care, like, if people want to do OnlyFans. Good for you. Like, I couldn't care less, right? It's, you do what you want to do. I just don't get the people that are, like, subscribing to it. I just don't get that. I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things that you either get it or you don't get it. But I just really don't get it. But, yeah. Anyways, let's switch it up. Let's move on. Now, we've briefly mentioned you and gym and stuff, but I really want to get into, you know, why you do it and stuff, because I know that gym and working out is a big part of your life. It's a big part of who you are. And talk to me a little bit about, you know, why it's so important to you. You know, what do you kind of think about it in terms of, like, your approach to it, and yeah, just tell us kind of what it means to you and why it's such a big fixture in your life.
Well, I mean, like, for one, I was a really chunky little kid. Like,
Okay.
I was the fat kid that got made fun of, like,
That sucks.
and I was short. It was bad. Like, I'm still short, but I'm not as short as I was. Uh, and really, like, I didn't start getting into like the gym till I was like 22.
Okay.
And it was to put on size because I'd hit like a point where I was really, really skinny. Like, I was just like oatmeal, fruit,
Oh
sometimes a
damn. Okay.
yogurt. Like, that was the extent of what I was doing on a daily basis. And then I was
Damn. So,
running like,
so you went extremes. You went from like
well,
okay.
no, I wasn't like, so I was a heavy kid till I was like 15 or 16, and then I slimmed down then, and everything. Like,
Mm.
I could pull up like a picture from when I was like 18 or whatever. I wasn't big. I didn't really have muscle definition. I was just thin.
Yeah, this is
And
kind of what I
then,
mean. You kind of you changed quite dramatically then. Do you know what I mean? Like
mhm,
to go from getting loads
yeah,
of shit about your weight when you were younger and being a more sizable woman to sort of becoming really really skinny and like thinking to yourself, I actually need to put on weight now. I'm too skinny. Like that's quite a
mhm,
transformation right there. And I
yeah,
understand like the obviously the underlying things of like just insecurities both as a woman and also just in general of like your looks and stuff because everyone has these
mhm,
things whether you want to admit it to yourself or not. Everyone has these thoughts and feelings and worries and
mhm.
concerns. But
But
yeah.
so, I had started to go to the gym and everything, and I started trying to put on some size. And I mean, it was what it was. Like, I genetically, like, I put on size too easily.
Mm.
I could be going to the gym like 2 or 3 big sessions a week of just heavy lifts, and I will put on muscle very fast.
But
It's
like
about, oh,
but,
go ahead.
what I was going to add to that is what's your diet like as well because I know what you eat is
At
very
what
important.
point? at
Okay,
what
well
at
you
what point is it not alcohol? I'm just kidding.
well, I mean, you're no, I mean,
Um,
you're saying because I'm the same. Like I've noticed as I've gotten older that food is a massive part of it. Like if anything, it's the more important
mhm,
side of things, and then the working. Like you do have to push yourself hard, but the working out is more
mhm,
like just getting the muscle definition and strength. But the food is like giving you all the stuff you need.
mhm,
And it's like I suppose if you compare it to like a car, it's like the food is like the fuel in the gas that going into the car,
mhm.
but then going to the gym is the equivalent of like I don't know driving the car. Whatever
Yeah. So, like, kind of with that, like, since the quarantine stuff started, how I work out has had to very much evolve because, like, our gyms were closed down.
Hmm.
And I kind of hit, like, the point, like, a few months before all that where I was just like, I had just stopped working 3 consecutive jobs. During the time I was working three
Damn.
different jobs, I'd put on, like, about 25 pounds. And it's just not sleeping, like, being awake, and just
Okay, so this is
on.
interesting. So because normally when people are working like a ton of jobs, they often tend to lose weight because they're just
Mhm.
so stressed and like they never get time to do anything and it's just
Mhm.
if you're moving around you naturally just shed pounds and stuff. So were you doing the sort of jobs that were like more not sitting around but like
So
less physical or something?
yeah, so two of them was a lot of paperwork and sitting, and
Right,
then
right.
the other job was like it was active because it was housekeeping, but it was at like this rehabilitation center.
Okay.
And so it's just not sleeping, the energy drinks, the Starbucks, the food on the go because I got no time to cook, like just all that. And then not going to the gym really, like it was a bad combination. I did 3 different jobs for like 4 or 5 months, and it was a shit show.
Mm.
And then I went from that to I had a couple of good months back in the gym, and then the shutdown happens.
Right.
And so I'm just like kind of trying to go from this principle because I had this whole principle in my head when I'm at the gym. I know what I'm doing. You know, I usually go in and I'll do a lot of the strength lifts. I'll go in, I'll do the bench press, I'll do deadlifts, I'll do stiff leg deadlifts, I'll do decline bench press, I'll do the shoulder press, I'll do squats, I'll do lunges, I'll do leg press, you know, and I'll kind of just, it's just like a strength circuit, and then I'll do like curls, but with like the bar, and then I'll kind of do like 5 or 10 minutes on the stairs, you know, but when I'm doing these strength exercises, I'm going low all the way up and then all the way back down. And that's kind of just my sampler at the gym that I typically would do if the gyms were open. And then I kind of went from that to having to work out at home. So I got back doing a lot more of the bar workouts, which those are actually on YouTube, and they're completely free. You just have to have internet. And then I kind of, like, I have some dumbbells at the house. I have like 10s, and I have 20s, and then 35s. And then some weight bands, like the resistance ones that go up to like, I think like 100, 120 pounds. So kind of trying to put that together, and then like a lot of just outdoor walking, jump rope. And then I found this little plan on Muscle and Fitness, and honestly, trying to do it outside of the gym where I don't have access to the really heavy weight, it really isn't enough by itself. So I kind of add to it. And then I have like days that I'm just like balls to the wall, all out, working out 3 or 4 times a day. Damn. And then I have days that I don't get my ass out of bed, period. Yeah. Like, it's just kind of this weird balance.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
This weird diet dynamic, too, because I did almost 3 full weeks of just very carb cutting, just carbs are from vegetables. That's about it. Like, eggs and maybe turkey sausage in the morning, chicken and vegetables, more chicken, more vegetables, tuna, which is fucking disgusting, and I pour hot sauce on it.
What?
With vegetables.
That's mental. What are you talking about? Hot sauce and tuna? Are you mad?
Yes. I have to smother it with something. I fucking hate tuna fish. It's disgusting. Damn. But it's good protein. Right. And then, like, salads, beans. I've been doing beans with, like, a salad with, like, cheese and, like, some chicken or something. Just, like, on balls to the wall dieting without carbs. Like, my brain was just, like, burnt, done. Like, so I kind of, like, the past, like, 4 days, I kind of backslid a little bit. I got to clean it back up. But I've just been kind of trying to focus more on what I'm eating and the workout timing. And if what I'm going to eat, if I can kind of get my body burning so that when I do eat it, if it's crap, it's not, like, detrimental.
Yeah.
Just kind of because I need to lose size too, because a lot of my photo projects I'm going to be working on, I can't be as large as I am. Like, and I'm not just talking about like fat, like muscle composition. I need to shrink.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting. Anybody that's ever really done this carb cutting, limiting shit, like your brain just starts to get fried. Like.
Okay. How so?
It's not a good look. Like, you just get, like, I really don't know how to explain it to somebody that hasn't done it. Like, it's just, it's strange. Like, you just get to where it's like, you can't fucking think. Like.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like, it's just, it gets nasty. Like, and I know a lot of people do it with, like, healthier grains and stuff, but for me, like, to kickstart, I want to cut off some of the muscle, cut off some of the fat. I need to drop down. And I know what I've done in the past that worked. And so I'm trying to do that, but then rein it in more. So It's an experience. I just apply, like, for me, if I do a workout and I'm not about to die on the floor, I don't think I'm done working out. Like, I have to be about to die on that floor right now. Like, coming up with weird stuff. Like, I have my hundreds workout that I do. And that's like.
I agree with you on this. I think, either if it comes in the form of sports or if it comes in the form of being in the gym, like whatever activity you're doing, if you're not like sweating hard, you got working up a good sweat, your heart's beating fast, like you haven't worked out properly, basically. As sad as it is to say, like I get the same thing. Sometimes I go out and play basketball, and like I'm really hoping that someone will come along and like we'll have a game because that'd be perfect. Because it's running around, it's everything. It's pretty. It's an excellent cardiovascular workout, but it's whether or not you have that. Because sometimes you don't have that, so it's just you on your ones, and it's a little bit disappointing from that perspective, but then I guess it's just a case of revising, your strategies. Like I funnily enough, today I bought some home kit, and I'm gonna buy some more home stuff and start doing it from home. Mainly to save on gym costs, but also just to get shit going moving forward.
There's also the hundreds workout. You could try that, and you could just die at home doing it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna start looking into things more and more. But I like to have like apparatus stuff I can use. It's not enough for me to just like do push-ups and sit-ups and shit. Like I just have no motivation. Whereas if I have the stuff around me, it motivates me. That's why I like gym so much. It's not really even about the stuff necessarily that's there. Like it is great. It's like all in one area and it's maintained and shit.
It's once you get in that door.
Yeah, I like the idea that like when you go in there, it's like, okay, well I'm not here to rest. I'm here to like work hard. So it's the environment. That's what I miss, I think. Gym is open here now, but I'm a bit apprehensive about returning. I think I'm gonna see if I can do home workouts. See if I can save money. But I'll probably start going to the gym again in the future when things get a bit more normal. But anyway, let's talk a little bit more about your Instagram, because obviously you post a lot of workout videos on your Instagram. You do a lot of stuff on your Instagram, actually. You have all these interesting hashtags on your main one, I believe. And in particular, the ones that I saw that were kind of interesting were you have a hashtag that says anti-model. And you also have one that says that you do, I guess, product reviews. So just tell us a little bit more.
That I haven't started doing yet. So for the longest time, I didn't even have a public Instagram. Like, this is very, kind of out there, kind of new for me to be doing. Because I just had the private Instagram to where you have to let you follow me or whatever. And then I made the public one like a few weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back out there. I'm going to start to see what bites, what is available for photo projects, what magazines take submissions now, what I can do as outlets, what I can pour some of my ideas into, just kind of things I can do, things I can put out. And like the product reviews, I do a ton of skincare shit. Like on any given night, like I have about $200 worth of shit on my face when I go to sleep. Like I have not really worn makeup very often since quarantine started, besides like brows and lashes. Those are my two staples. I have to have them. My dark circles could be hanging out crazy. I need eyebrows on. They're blonde. I need eyebrows. You don't understand.
I don't. I'm a man, so this is going over my head. But I guess for any women listening, then they'll get where you're coming from.
Like I started like the idea of, doing product reviews on stuff because I am a lot of times looking for the next better product.
Right, okay. Cool.
I have a lot of stuff. I just need to go through and actually post up the reviews of it. So I have plenty of products I've used. And I just haven't really gone through and find hashtags that will, when you post a photo, when you post a story, that it will get it viewed. Backing up this in like a weird way. I mean, like, what's going to make them come across my story or my post, if it's like photography, if it's art, if it's a photo shoot, if it's a workout, like what will make it be found. And so like the anti-models, because if you think about it, to me, a lot of what gets associated with like modeling and photo shoots is just this normal, this kind of you're 90 pounds, you're 5 or plastic image. So it comes to mind a lot, and it shouldn't, and maybe I'm just weird, maybe I'm just like kind of, but I don't like the term model because I feel like it takes away from that you can create art when you're doing photo shoots, when you're doing projects. Like it just, to me, it takes away from the art of it. It makes it more streamlined. Yeah, go and get your stuff. You're going to have 50 people going, that's a model. Okay. Like, it's kind of the mixture of those things that I'm like, I like to create art. I like to do things that cause shock value. I mean, pretty frequently I do post up videos of me licking knives, like, and that's something I learned how to do safely, like about a decade ago. And people are like, "Oh my God, is your time, bruh? If I couldn't do it, I wouldn't do it." So it's really on the lines of not being streamlined, not being that 5'10" person. Like I'm short. On a good day, I'm 5'5". On a good day. uh, it's just kind of that polar opposite. I'm not, let me take a bunch of pictures and look cute. Like, let me instead cover myself in fake blood. Possibly, if I was able to obtain it from a slaughterhouse, let me cover myself in animal blood. Look as crazy as I can and try to create some type of lasting image, some type of art that says something. Like, that's just the way I see that.
Oh, that's awesome. I dig it. I kind of figured that was what you were going to say, but it's nice to hear that kind of prevailing counter movement. Switching it up, tell us about the Jeffree Star story.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to start with, Jeffree Star kind of started to get his following back in like MySpace days and all this shit.
Woo.
And he very much, if you think self-made, I got to give the guy credit. He's probably one of the most stuck on themselves individuals I can think of. But he is very self-made. This was from, as a business person, a businessman, businesswoman, whatever, very self-made, very self-promoted, doing things that were controversial at that time. He did a lot of really cool photo shoots. We had some type of issues because I can't, honestly, I don't even remember the details of it. It was just some type of thing because I had called him out on that he was piggybacking his attention and his success off of this chick, Eliza Cutts. And I called him on it. I was like, the only reason anybody even cares who the fuck you are is because of who you associate with. I went on this whole spiel. I was trolling halfway. I was halfway serious. He talked all this kinds of shit, And so all of a sudden, me and my sister are there in person at Warped Tour, out in the tents, out in the little areas. All of a sudden, he has nothing to say. All of a sudden. Like, I'm just like, bitch, I can't. Like, I can't. Like, it's one this shit on, like, okay, like, I can't deal with it. Like, I don't like that arrogance. I don't like, I don't know. I don't even know really where I'm going with it. It's just, how are you gonna piggyback off people, get mad when someone calls you on it, and then they want to say all this stuff about all these people doing weird shit? I'm like, yo, like you literally, because people who were front row and Warped Tour, he was shaking his freaking shit right in people's face. These were like teenagers. teenagers,
dear.
because he was halfway on the little barrier in the stage and this and that. It was ridiculous though. It was ridiculous. I was like, I'm gonna fight this motherfucker right now. No. He wants to act some type of stupid. Okay. Talking all that shit, all that keyboard warrior shit.
Let's switch it up. So, tell us something about yourself that not everyone knows.
Um,
Always brings an interesting answer, this one.
basic things like I don't talk. I would probably say the fact that there's a God, you know what? Let me think. What example do I want to use? A lot we're gonna be a little bit open. We're gonna be a little bit open. All this craziness that I do, all this working out, all this in the gym. I have neck issues, and I'm not really supposed to be doing this. And they're like, don't put a bar on your back. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I've been doing this for the better part of 7 years.
Okay.
So when people complain and they make excuses why they can't be in the gym, they can't do this, they can't do that, and it mind boggles me because I'm like, really? You can't? Because I'm doing things that I, quote unquote, can't still do.
Yeah.
That mind boggles me.
I think it is like finding alternatives, because I remember I seem to recall, I think it was an interview with Billy Gunn many years ago where it was a similar topic where he said he had like a particular injury somewhere and it meant that potentially he couldn't do like leg workouts anymore or something like that, but obviously being a wrestler he needed to still have, to work out. And he was a bit concerned about that. And then he'd spoken to someone about it, and they basically just said, yeah, like, just try this. It's a different way. You'll have to get used to it, but it'll work. And he did it, and it did work. So I think, like, that's the trouble. Like, a lot of people just give up and can't see any alternatives. But if you can just find alternatives, you can find sort of like a way around something to still get the workout you need in.
I think it's also how stubborn you are, because like some people... True. They're just like, they don't have this mind over matter concept. Like, I'll get home, I've done a night shift, I've been up, I don't know how many hours. I will still get home, do my first workout of the day, get my stinky ass in the shower after that, and then I'll still be up for a couple hours before I go to bed.
I don't know how you can work a full day of work and then come home and do exercise. I mean, I've tried to do that, and it's... Well, actually, no, I suppose you can. It depends on your job, really, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I kind
of just make myself, like, there's times that I'm trying to get something in, trying to get it done, and I could sit on the floor and I could cry about it, or I could get my fucking ass up and do it. Like, it's just, you get in your own head, like, a lot. People do that. They're like, I can't. This is hard.
Okay. Well... Let's drawing things to a close for our podcast. I have one final question for you. Do you have any kind of upcoming projects that you're looking to plug, or any kind of final thoughts that you have to share with us?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now's your time.
So there is the holographic shoot that I'm going to be submitting in September. The occult issue that I'm going to be submitting in... What is it? I think it's due. I'm not sure the due date for that. That I have to check. But I have
rough
those
idea
two projects.
Of the year, like, or time of the year, roughly.
I think it has to be in by about the middle of September, I think.
Cool.
But it wouldn't be out until October, and that's for that Misfit magazine, and that's just really, looking at what takes submissions, what there is. And then I'm also networking with photographers. I have 2 or 3 people that want to shoot with me. One of them wants to do something really dark, and I'm down with it. It's just LA is completely shut down, so I'm like, do I really want to go and drive down there right now? Probably not till it calms down. And
Right.
then I'm starting to think, as much painting as I'm doing,
Oh, nice.
I might start to sell some of my artwork. I might start to do that because that would be a good way to fund kind of some of these road trips down to LA and also some of the supplies that I'll need. And then I'm continuing to work on props. I'm networking. I'm looking for stuff. I'm doing, openly whatever, like 2 to maybe 3 podcasts a week. If people want to invite me, I'll do that. Check. That's kind of it.
When it comes to the art stuff, are you gonna promote that on Instagram? You're gonna maybe have like a separate art page or something like that?
I haven't really thought about it because I'm trying to right now just keep everything on the one page.
Okay.
Because as it is, like I'll be trying to edit something to post it up, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe it's a bit convoluted to have lots of pages. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all these awesome stories, sharing your life with us, and obviously promoting all of these projects as well. Like I learned some stuff that I didn't know. I didn't, for instance, know about the art stuff that you were into, and some of these projects. It sounds like you have like a lot on the horizon, which is really good, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely stuff that people can kind of look forward to with you. But I do think in a way you're kind of underselling yourself as well. Like, because when I was looking at your overall online profile, it's like I have like a rough idea, but this kind of whole podcast made me realize that there's so much to you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some of it you are purposely keeping under wraps until it's ready and stuff, and other things maybe just looking for a way to like find how to promote it and such. So I get that element of it. But hopefully this podcast will do some good for you, and promoting that. You seem like a very talented woman, and
Thank you.
yeah, no worries. Like I really look forward to seeing what you produce, particularly the horror photo shoot stuff, because I'm a big horror movie fan, so that's
Mm-hmm.
something I'm particularly looking forward to. But
It's
yeah,
been a long time since I've done that, so it's gonna be interesting.
maybe like yeah, because it's years have passed, you'll have like a different, fresh approach, which might make it a bit more
Mm-hmm.
interesting and different. So that's cool. Awesome,
Definitely.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did interviewing you. It's a pleasure. And
Thank you.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Thank you, and you're always welcome to come back, as I say to all of my guests.
Definitely.
Awesome. We can share some more stories. I'm game for it. Or we can just sit and complain about
All right.
wrestling for hours.
That could be fun too. All right.
Awesome, awesome. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone listening on Spotify. I believe we're on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts now, a bunch of other places. Everyone listening on YouTube, thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you guys want to appear on the podcast in the future, if you'd like to return, you got my number, you got my messages. Did you? Did you get my messages? You got my contacts. You know where to find me. But to anyone that wants to be on the podcast, please get in touch. I would love to have you on the show. I'd love to interview you, and I'd love to talk about stories, because it's not all just about plugging. It's also about having a conversation, having some fun. I want you to feel at ease and feel like you can talk about anything, and also get across everything. Plug yourself. Here's your opportunity. I love it. I love to learn about people. I think I enjoy these particular ones more so. I think I said it before, but you know me, I ramble. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and until next time, I bid you adieu.